All right. Let's good. Ready, Catch?
Yes, sir.
All right. What's up, everyone? How's it going? Kyle Henderson, Bama Football on YouTube. He is Geoff Ketchum of Orange Bloods. It's finally here. We got past week one. You got past your powder puff. We got past ours. Texas downs Rice. Bama downs Middle Tennessee. And it's time for the college football Super Bowl. Catch. Thank you for joining us. We've been talking about this for a long time, and it's finally the week is here. What's the anticipation like in Austin for this game as Texas turns their horns towards Tuscaloosa?
It's pretty sky high. I mean, this is a game that I think Texas fans have been looking forward to for 12 months, maybe even longer than that. This home and home is a series that was much discussed leading into it. I think Texas fans to this day feel like they lost one that they should have taken home last year. So there's a sense that there's revenge. They want to make amends for what happened a year ago. I think internally in the program, they probably feel that way. And I think there's a sense that with all of the expectations that are on this Texas team going into this season, beating Alabama would serve as quite the springboard towards potentially something pretty big for this program. It might also be a bit of a reality check. So that's the kind of the tale of both sides of what Saturday night might be for the Longhorns, either the springboard of their dreams or perhaps a reality check of just how far they have to go. And was last September, was that real? Was that a one-off? Was that Alabama just on a bad day? And all of the things that go into it, I think those are the questions that kind of surround this game, and it should be a lot of fun.
Here with Geoff Ketchum of Orange Bloods. Go check out his content if you're interested in content related to the Alabama-Texas game. There's plenty of it, but Ketch does it, better than others on the Texas front. My name is Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. Hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. I appreciate you guys being here. 91 watching. Let's get 91 thumbs up. I appreciate you guys. I know you guys have the LSU and Florida State game on your mind, as do I. But this is the college football Super Bowl, and it's taking place in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. On Saturday, September 9th, 6 p.m., TV, ESPN, Alabama favored by less than a touchdown. Catch, when we look at this game, what did we learn about the Texas Longhorns in week one? It's a small sample size. I get it. It's Rice. We learned some things about Middle Tennessee from Alabama as well. Quinn Ewers, let's start right there. What did you learn about him that you didn't know last season? I know he's transformed his body. He's down 20 pounds. I watched the tape. I watched the game. He looks athletic. I love his footwork. What did you learn from him this season that you didn't know about him last season? How did he come out the gates?
I don't think we really learned anything about Quinn Ewers that we didn't already know about him. He is a guy that is a pretty good football player when he's throwing short and in the intermediate areas from the middle of the field over to the left. He's not a good deep ball thrower. That is the thing that everybody wanted to see that improve from last season to this season. In game one, he goes 0 of 6 on passes 20 yards or more down the field. And I think most alarming, more so than that number, right? Because statistics can be misleading. Mm-hmm. He had several down the field throws to wide open receivers, and he either underthrew the ball or led his receiver out of bounds. And it kind of created oh no, here we go again sensation with Texas fans who felt like all we've heard all offseason is that this guy has improved in this area. And in a one-game sample size, it was probably as disappointing, I think, for fans as it could possibly be. Coaches and players will look at it and say, we've got to improve there. There's from game one to game two, we'll make those steps, maybe. But I think certainly the fan base feels like Quinn Ewers may still be the same guy, and the same guy, with all due respect to how he performed against Alabama a year ago, the same guy's not good enough.
I think that that stands out to me because when you look to Jalen Milroe, Jalen Murrow was on fire. And I know you probably have some questions to me and that I love to field. And I know we're going to talk more throughout this week. But Jalen Murrow was a guy that everybody had deep ball questions about, right? Going into this game. And the guy is outstanding throwing deep balls against. And I get it. The caliber is different, but it is what it is. I mean, the guy was, he threw 3 touchdown passes that were over, 29 yards. And one was for 45. And, he really came out of the gates. But I think like when you have weapons that Texas has on the outside, was he just not able to hit those guys? Were they overthrown? Were they dropped passes? Because I want to ask you about Worthy and Mitchell, and of course your tight end, because those guys last year were very good. Obviously, Mitchell's a new addition, but looks like there's so much talent in arsenal on the outside for Texas. So was it more of on Quinn, or was it a drops, or kind of what? Can you explain that a little bit to me?
Quinn can't throw the deep ball. Just can't do it. He's bad at it. He was last year on passes 20 yards or more down the field to Xavier Worthy, a player that is always open. In 30 years of covering college football, I've never covered a wide receiver that gets more open easily than Xavier Worthy. You'll see it on Saturday. He will get open no matter who they put on him, although I'm drooling over the idea of Kool-Aid McKinstry following him around the field all over the place. But Xavier Worthy gets open. It's his superpower. Mm-hmm. But a year ago, Quinn was 4 of 32 on deep passes to Xavier Worthy. Yesterday, 0 for 2. They just can't get – here's the thing. Quinn Ewers can't hit Xavier Worthy in stride. Mm-hmm. It just – and it's a little bit of everything. He threw him out of bounds once yesterday. He underthrew him another time. You could look at moments last season when he did everything. He overthrew him at times. He threw the ball in a completely different area than Worthy was on other times. He underthrew him. It's always something. But the bottom line is it's an area where Quinn Ewers isn't good. And yesterday was an opportunity to come out of that game feeling like, okay, there they go. They've got better chemistry. A.D. Mitchell is his new favorite downfield target, except he was 0 for 2 and underthrew Mitchell both times. And one time Mitchell had 5 yards of separation, and the ball was just thrown so poorly that what should have been an easy touchdown ended up being an incomplete pass. Could have been passed. It was so poorly thrown that the defender had time to run into Mitchell. They didn't call pass interference. Probably could have. But the bottom line is the plays are there to be made, and it is the one area where Quinn Ewers is still struggling to be an elite player. I'm telling you, the scouting report on Ewers is real simple. Between 0 and 20 yards from the middle of the field to the left, that's his sweet spot. Throwing right, he struggles. Throwing deep, he struggles.
Here with Geoff Ketchum of orangebloods.com. And of course, this is the studio catch that Miss Elizabeth Reed built for us right here with the $100 super chat. And we appreciate you, Elizabeth. Thank you so much for dropping in the hundo to start the show. Thank you. Yes, a round of applause. And
you get a round of applause for the $100 super chat.
That's what I'm saying. That's how we roll here in Alabama. And she says, roll Tide roll. As a native Dallas Texan, I hope we roll next weekend. Hey, Ms. Elizabeth, we really appreciate the super chat. This is the studio that you built. So thank you so much. And we really appreciate the super chat. We'll leave that on for a few, as it's $100 super chat. So that's the bar, fam. So we appreciate it. Catch, with that being said, Texas, I mean, at least talking to the fans, I mean, people are excited about this Texas team. One, is this Texas team better than last year? And two, why do fans feel or kind of why is the pulse that, I mean, saying that Texas comes in and beats Alabama? Why do Texas fans, and you said not all of them, but there's a great majority that feel that Texas can beat Alabama. Why? How can they do this?
Well, I think they look at last year's game and feel like if Ewers hadn't got injured in that game, that the way he was playing, they would have beaten Alabama that day. Look, when you look at that game, Alabama finishes the fourth quarter like I think an Alabama team you would expect to show up. And if they're a really good Alabama team, it was where Bryce Young was at his best. Plays got made in the fourth quarter of that game, when I think Texas had been the better team pretty clearly through the first 3 quarters. But the change at quarterback disrupts what Texas is able to do on offense. I think there's always going to be a sense, look, every time Texas plays Alabama since Alabama's had Nick Saban, there's a quarterback getting injured and a what if game being played by Longhorn fans. I think they're hopeful that this is a year where that's not the case. But to be fair, and you asked me the question, is this team better than it was a year ago? Not yet. Mm-hmm. Not on the offensive side of the ball. Mm-hmm. It is no small thing that Bijan Robinson and Roschon Johnson are no longer on this team. To give you an idea of who they were in the last decade, going back to 2014, Bijan and Roschon represent 2 of the top 4 Power 5 running backs in the last decade, all of them with regards to yards after contact and making guys miss. Mm-hmm. So what does that mean? It means whatever you thought, however good you thought that offensive line was a year ago, the special running back play. The special running back play is gone. Mm-hmm. And I don't know that this Texas team has an identity yet in the run game. I don't know if they know that they're good in the run game. I think they feel really good about the weapons they have in the passing game. And I think the defense may actually be better than it was a year ago, when I think they gave Alabama a lot of fits. I think even Alabama coaches, players, and fans would say before that fourth quarter, the offense had not played a good game by Alabama standards. I think this Texas defense could give – if Texas is going to be competitive in this game and they're going to win this game, I think it's because the Texas defense does what it did against Alabama a year ago. And I think it's possible. I think these are 2 really good defenses. And I think the jury's out on exactly what both of these 2 teams are offensively.
Here with Geoff Ketchum of orangebloods.com. Go check out his work this week as Alabama gears up to play the Texas Longhorns after a victory over Rice. Ketch, after Alabama beat Middle Tennessee, on your message board, what were people saying about Jalen Milroe? What were people saying about Alabama?
I think everybody respects Alabama. I think Alabama won in a controlling enough manner that there wasn't a lot of smack talk. There wasn't a lot of Alabama's overrated. And Jalen Milroe is about as impressive as he could be. So I think everybody had it on the tip of their tongues to slander Milroe, who, by the way, is a former Texas commitment. Yeah. So the shadow of, if he were at Texas, what would it mean? What would have happened? Would he have been the starting quarterback last year or the year before or this year? So I think it would make Texas fans feel good to say something bad about Jalen Milroe. I think the ghost of talking bad about Jalen Hurts still rings loud. When Jalen Hurts went to Oklahoma, Texas fans were convinced they had the better quarterback in Sam Ehlinger. And they talked a lot of smack, and they said, these guys from Alabama, they're a little bit overrated. He's not that good. He can't throw the ball. And then they were forced to kind of eat their words. So I think after last night, there's a whole lot of nothing being said specifically about the pieces of the Alabama team. I think Texas fans are a little bit still caught up in, they didn't think they were very good yesterday on the offensive side of the ball. Certainly in the first half. They were 3 of 9 on third downs. They gave up 6 tackles for loss up front. Rice had a couple of sacks, 16-3 at halftime. So Texas fans are still in their feelings a little bit about what Saturday was. They'll turn their attention to Alabama. They'll get confident. They'll start talking trash. They'll think they're going to win because that confirmation bias will kick in. But in the 24 hours immediately after both of those games were played, I think a blow was dealt to Texas's confidence outside of the locker room.
Ketch, we got another super chat coming in from Miss Elizabeth Reed. I'm telling you, this is the studio that she built here, Ketch. Do you think that Sark has the same leverage this time around? Example being a former Saban disciple, or do you think his luck is less than last year? And I think that's an interesting point as well. Like, some of these former coaches under the Saban tree, you look to what they're able to do. Now, of course, there's different cases. There's the Billy Napiers. There's a Kirby Smart. We look at Steve Sarkeesian here in Tuscaloosa as being someone who's successful. What's kind of the pulse around Steve Sarkeesian? Can you imagine, Ketch, if he comes into Tuscaloosa where he was the only assistant coach to really serve as the head coach when Coach Saban got COVID a couple years ago, to walk around the sidelines, to be like the actual coach. And it was weird to see another coach make the lap around, because eventually at some point in time that's going to happen. Sarkeesian, somebody who rebuilt himself, rebuilt his brand, is building up Texas. So this time around, and knowing that, Sark is coming in with, an arsenal of weapons, the offensive mind that he is, does that add a little bit of, maybe not leverage, but, being that he knows Saban, the system, does that add a little bit extra into this?
I'm going to say no, that maybe it did a year ago, but I think that one of the advantages that Saban will have that he didn't have a year ago, there wasn't really a scouting report on Quinn Ewers, and there was a lot of new players on that offensive line. I think there might have been, I think whatever he would have had, whatever advantages existed, they would have played out last year. I think one of the things that Saban has going for him this year is, other than the running backs and the addition of A.D. Mitchell at wide receiver, the personnel is exactly the same all the way across the offensive line, with the exception of a change at right guard. But even DJ Campbell played a little bit last year in that game, not well. So I think Saban, and I think this is an Alabama offense that I don't think Texas will have a lot of film on. And this isn't the offense really what they'll do with Jalen Milroe, and what I think Jalen Milroe does well, I think is something that Texas will need to learn. And I think there's a little bit of a scouting report on Jalen Milroe, but I think that the Alabama offensive line on paper looks like they're more stout. We'll see with their wide receivers. I don't know that I believe in this Alabama offense yet against a really good defense. And I think this will be a really good Texas defense. So does the game come down to a big play by one of these defenses? Is special teams the forgotten third phase? Is that an area where this game is decided? I don't know that I confidently believe in either offense yet. I watched the Alabama game and I thought Jalen Milroe was pretty good, but it was Middle Tennessee State. And I think this is a Texas defense that will arrive on Saturday with 8 or 9 NFL guys in the starting lineup. Maybe not all first-round draft picks, but really talented guys. And I think this will be maybe one of the biggest challenges that Milroe will certainly have had in a short career as a starter in the games that he had, a couple of them a year ago. This defense is better than when A&M was a year ago. And yeah, I think this has a chance to play out a little bit like last year's game did, where if somebody gets to 25, that's probably enough.
Yeah. Here with Geoff Ketchum of Orange Bloods. Thank you again, Miss Elizabeth Reed. We really appreciate your super chat. You supporting Bama football on YouTube. You can support Bama football on YouTube as well. You can become a fan funder of this YouTube channel, just $2.99 per month. Hit the join button at the bottom of your screen. Venmo tips, just look up Bama_YouTube. Really appreciate all the support. This week we gear up towards the college football Super Bowl as Texas comes into beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Kickoff is at 6 p.m. at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Ketch, can you tell me a little bit more about that defense, specifically names and where the strength is? Maybe what I would like to know, I guess, is pass rush and then secondary. You mentioned, you got some projected NFL guys back there. If you could just sprinkle in some names on the secondary guys who are going to be coming in, crashing and trying to get to Jalen Milroe. As you know, and you'll ask me throughout the week, about Alabama's offensive line. And people weren't that impressed with Alabama's offensive line. I thought they fared well in pass protection. Running the ball wasn't overwhelming. It's hard because it's Middle Tennessee. And then you go against Texas, completely different caliber. But still, people, it wasn't a perfect game by Alabama by any standards, but there were some times where Jalen Milroe, showed his playmaking ability and then improved on the deep ball. But I'm curious to get your take on this Texas defense and kind of some stars to watch, if you will, on the defensive side of the ball, secondary and pass rush.
Well, let's start up front. It's a bigger defensive line than it is a fast, quick, beat you off the edge with explosiveness type of defense. T'Vondre Sweat was a backup last year at defensive tackle. He looked like a guy that could play for Georgia at defensive tackle yesterday. It was the best game I've ever seen him play. Yes, it was against Middle Tennessee State. Might well have been Rice. but it was still, he dominated. Like you'd want to see a guy dominate against that level, but like really dominated. He's a guy that could have gone pro a year ago and been invited to the Senior Bowl, probably been an early day 3 pick. We talked to his Senior Bowl, the director of the Senior Bowl, Jim Nagy, Orange Bloods did a week ago. He thinks he's a second, third round talent type guy. And yesterday he looked like a first round type guy. Big guy, carries like 350. You will, number 93, you will see him. The rest of the defensive line is like more solid than they are at the level that I thought he was yesterday. They're all good players, though. They return Byron Murphy is a guy that is starting who's really good. Alfred Collins, Vernon Broughton. Texas up front defensively is just going to beat you with size and strength. They're not necessarily going to beat you around the corners and scare you that way. You've got Jalen Ford at linebacker, who is really good in coverage. He's just a great all-around linebacker. There's a reason why he was an All-American a year ago, although he didn't even get on the stat sheet last year against Alabama. Starting inside linebacker who never comes off the field, didn't so much as get a 1 anywhere on the stat sheet a year ago, ends up having an All-American season. Beyond that, Texas will expect more from him in this game. He had an interception yesterday, really nice one, actually. He had 4 a year ago. He's a guy that just finds his way around the football. And then when you get into the secondary, if we look at the cornerback position, they've got 4 guys that they think are starters. And they played them yesterday a lot. There was a lot of rotation. The best guy of the bunch might have been Malik Muhammad, the true freshman who was a borderline 5-star last year around all of the services. They bring back Ryan Watts, who played against Alabama last year. They bring back Terrence Brooks, who started last year. They've got a transfer named Gavin Holmes, who came in from Wake Forest and had been a multi-year starter there. So they really like their cornerbacks. The safety position, not quite as good, although Jalen Catalon was a guy 2 years ago at Arkansas who was first or second team all SEC as a true freshman. Shoulder injuries really limited him the last couple of years at Arkansas. The thought is he's the best player at the back end of this Texas defense. And yet yesterday he pulled a Jalen Ford. He didn't have a single contribution to the defense that allowed him to get on the stat sheet. So I don't know. That was his first game. Maybe there were just first game jitters. Maybe Rice is so terrible on offense that he just wasn't brought into the game. But the safety position, it's not the same as the cornerbacks. Like Texas may have 4 safeties, but it ain't like the 4 corners that Texas has. So I think you'll want to pick on David Benda, who's the other linebacker next to Jalen Ford. He got beat 3 times yesterday in coverage. Looked like a very big question mark for me. He struggled with receivers in zone. He gambled and lost track of guys. He's the guy that I think Alabama will point to and say, we're going to go at him. And then I think behind him, again, the safety play was just good. I don't know that they have any great players or anybody that's on the level of the cornerbacks who I think will all play in the league.
Here with Geoff Ketchum of Orange Bloods. You can check out his work, of course, at orangebloods.com, part of the rivals.com network. I've been a part of Rivals. I was a part of On 3. Now I'm just YouTube. So, it's been great. But, man, you know what? I love being independent, man. Like, and Ketch has known me for a long time. Okay, so Ketch is one of the GOATs. I got Ketch up there. I got Gene Williams of War Chant, Sean Callahan of Husker Online. Like, those guys have been the mentors and kind of set the standard. And these guys have known me since I ran my own site in New Mexico. So when I started out, I started running a New Mexico high school site, and I would travel all around New Mexico, and I crushed it. And then I won't say like, I moved into a different position, and I couldn't be as creative and I couldn't be myself. But now, Ketch, like, that dog's back, man. Like, I'm feeling it, and it's so good to be like doing my own thing. And we've known each other for a long time, and I've always respected your work, the brand that you put out. You've built such a monster. There was a time where we talked about even me moving to Austin. Yeah,
I was just about to say, like, there was like a little more than a decade ago, we were having some conversations.
Yeah, we were, man. But I just, but before we get you out, because I know, it's Sunday, and I appreciate you joining me.
I'm good, man. You keep me as long as you want. I'm fine.
Yeah, your time is valuable to me. Do you have any questions and I want to answer your questions when you have me on your show this Wednesday at 1:20 Central Time. I think that's when we're going to go. I'll have that listed for you guys, so you guys can watch that video as well. Do you have any questions for me that we can kind of tease up that maybe Texas fans might be interested in after watching Alabama's first game of the season?
I do. I was on Pro Football Focus earlier today, and sometimes it's a good resource. There are other times, especially when it comes to offensive line blocking and the grading at the college game, where our own guy, Alex Dunlap, will go through every play and grade the Texas offensive line. And sometimes the grades are just wildly different than what Pro Football Focus will come with. Pro Football Focus graded the Alabama offensive line yesterday as subpar, as far as I'm concerned. 4 of the 5 starters were like in the 50s, which isn't great by any stretch of the imagination. So knowing how well the Texas defensive line looked yesterday and how that is, I think, a strength, at least up front in the stoutness of this group. Was the offensive line play for Alabama as poor as I think Pro Football Focus kind of suggested it was on the offensive line side of things? Yeah,
that's a great question. And once again, the house that Miss Elizabeth Reed has built says not sold on Texas teams truly buying back. As Texas fans love to claim. Sorry again if this comes off cross defensive. I've just been raised roll tide or die. Sorry, I'm raised roll tide till the day I die.
Elizabeth, the thing is, you can keep putting in big time super chats. You get to say pretty much whatever you want to. Them's the rules.
That is so. Ketch, I know you even covered up by the super chat down there, but hey, we're this is it. We got to take care of her. There we go. Thank you again, Miss Elizabeth Reed. We really appreciate all the support. And Ketch, you know what? I'm curious to get everybody's take inside the comment box. So you guys, this is a question for you guys in the comment box. I'm going to give my take on Alabama's offensive line, and then we can kind of dive into it as everybody's doing their rewatch today. I wasn't overly impressed with Alabama's offensive line. It's a small sample size. This is where they were good at pass protection. Alabama was sacked. Jalen Milroe was sacked yesterday one time, and that came from a running back missing his assignment. Jam Miller missed an assignment, and the guy got to Jalen Milroe. Okay, not too bad. Overall, the offensive line, I thought, protected very well, allowed Milroe to really stand back in the pocket a couple times. He had plenty of time to get the ball downfield, and Coach Saban does a great job after the game, kind of breaking down, a safety kind of cheating up and them going over the top two. Amari Niblock, write that name down, Ketch. You'll want to talk about him. Number 84, he's a tight end. Mention him to your fans. He's a tight end that lines up as a Y down in the dirt, but can be split outside, and probably not as good as your tight end, number 0. But he's somebody who's definitely a weapon for Alabama. I thought in terms of Alabama's push offensively, these guys are monstrous. Like after the game, Rick Stockstill, who's the head football coach of Middle, said that they're ginormous. And I think they have the biggest offensive line in the country. They're like, I don't know, average like 6'5", 3. What are the digits in there? Like 340 or 350. They're huge. But at times I felt they were a little bit slow. Darian Dalcourt is he's a graduate here at the University of Alabama. And I felt that there was a couple times where he just wasn't it. He just didn't seem to have it. And as you can see, Pro Football Focus kind of feels the same way. So if you're new to Pro Football Focus, this is how it works. Let's just take Caden Proctor, who's up at the top of your screen. Caden Proctor, he started at left tackle. He is a freshman. He played in 57 total snaps. That's what total means. And on the far right, it shows the offensive grade. Sometimes these grades fluctuate throughout the week once, a guy has been able to regrade them. So if there's another grade update throughout the week, I'll bring that to you. But here's what it is after the game. Caden Proctor, 56.1. Tyler Booker catches one of the best, in my opinion, in the SEC, 58.4. J.C. Latham should be a first-round draft pick in the NFL in 2024, 64.8. Seth McLaughlin, he's the center. He's the run the damn ball, 50.6. Darian
That stunned me when I saw that.
I know. Yeah. And you're right. Darian Dalcourt right here, 59.4. That's what I just talked about. And then Terrence Ferguson, who's kind of the first man off at guard, 55.7. So we hyped up this offensive line, and people still are. And they should. But yesterday's performance and collectively, this group ran the football. Alabama, everyone was talking about all the quarterbacks that were going to play, but Alabama was able to rotate in 5 running backs yesterday. All of their running backs got reps, all of them. But the offensive line, it was kind of, I don't know if lackluster is the right word, but they weren't overly dominant as we expected them to be.
So let me tell you about the Texas offensive line to either make, I don't know, everybody feel better, or to make, it wouldn't have been the same guys, I'm guessing, grading the offensive line for both Alabama and Texas. They probably had different people do that. So on the interior of the Texas offensive line, you had Hayden Connor was 58.7. You had Jake Majors was 58.4. And you had DJ Campbell was 58.4. Now, the good news is both of Texas's tackles graded in the 70s. Kelvin Banks was a 74.1.
Okay.
That was he's a preseason All-American.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of played like it. And Christian Jones on the other side was a 76.8. So he was actually the highest graded offensive lineman on either team, it sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
I'm letting you know right now. The interior of this Texas offensive line could not contain and control Rice.
Wow.
And I know that you think the interior of this Alabama defensive line is really good. What Rice did, they controlled the line of scrimmage, and they would bring like a 5th guy. So they're running twists and stunts, and they're bringing extra pressure, and it really gave Texas problems.
And when you look to the defense now, Ketch, here's the Pro Football Focus grades. That's concerning if you're Texas coaches and you're kind of making adjustments, because I'm telling you, Deontay Lawson, he's the guy second column in the left. He's the inside linebacker. He's coming, and he played fantastic yesterday. And I know we all know it's middle, but it was a game, and we got to see some reps. So take it for what it is. He did great, and so did these two guys right here. Chris Broswell, who's an outside edge rusher, and Dallas Turner is another edge rusher as well. And then Q Robinson, write that name down too, Ketch, number 34. Everybody knows about Dallas Turner. He'll be a first-round guy. But these guys were coming, and they were doing different stunts to where Q Robinson was coming across the middle, line up on the edge, and then he kind of swoop in behind Jaheim Otis, who's their big defensive tackle. So this defense, I mean, up front, they played really sound football. And remember, Ketch, Kevin Steele is their first-year defensive coordinator. He's been at Alabama now 3 times, kind of like rotated a few places. He was at Miami, but when he was at Auburn, their defenses were nasty. So he's kind of brought back that, kind of nasty mentality, I guess. And the guys tackled. We wanted to see yesterday good open field tackling. We saw that. We wanted to see pass rush. We saw that. But middle got the football out so quick that it was hard to get to the quarterback, because literally they'd snap it, throw it, snap it, throw it. He never waited. But Deontay Lawson looked really good yesterday. So not surprised to see him having a really high Pro Football Focus grade. I will mention this, Ketch, and this is something that we are tracking. Injury report. You can tell your fans, Malachi Moore, who is the starter at the star position and also can play safety. We're hearing that he was injured yesterday. We're still awaiting a status update from Saban on Monday. Some people have said he's good to go, but we can't confirm that until we hear from Coach Saban. And then Jalen Key, who played amazing. He's a transfer from UAB. That's University of Alabama, Birmingham. He had an interception yesterday, highest Pro Football Focus grade at 84.2. He was injured as well, and we don't have a status update on him. And then Emmanuel Henderson, who is, I would say, he's maybe in the 2 deep in terms of wide receivers. He was on crutches. So those are the guys we're tracking. But other than that, we don't really have any major injuries that we're tracking at this point.
You think McKinstry will be okay for Saturday?
Oh yeah. I talked to him after the game. He got popped clearly. Yeah. But yeah, he was the first guy that they brought out to the media room, and we talked to him. So 100% he's good to go. Yeah.
So can I ask another question?
Of course.
I don't keep up necessarily with what the trends are for what Saban does defensively. Mm-hmm. Does he take, if he's got a corner like McKinstry, will he put him on Xavier Worthy and say, wherever he goes, you go? Or is he a boundary guy? Like, what do they do with McKinstry in terms of the other team has a great receiver?
Yeah. Another super chat in. Thank you very much, Richard, for the super chat. Dalcourt is the weakest link online. Want to see Ferguson. I co-sign on that too. I would like to see Ferg get the start against Texas. We'll see, if that does happen. I do like Ferg in there a little bit more than Dalcourt. That's a great question, Ketch, because Kool-Aid is a first-round guy, one of the tops in the SEC. So is Worthy, clearly, the Big 12, probably one of the best, in college football. I would love to see that matchup go down all night. That's an NFL matchup, 100%. I would say that, that'll be the one-on-one matchup on the opposing side. And this is what Middle did, in the first drive, is they went after Terrion Arnold. Terrion Arnold is a player that I've been hyping up. You guys saw him last year. A lot of people had, difference of opinions about him last year. And they attacked him. Middle went at him right away, and he did a good job in coverage. So let's see, what was his Pro Football Focus grade? Oh, he's the third guy on your left. So 77.3 defense, and then his coverage grade was a 77.7. He did a good job. And then as you can see, Kool-Aid with a grade in coverage 72.9, and then defensively 74.0. Small sample size. I know it's one game. But I would say that you see Kool-Aid and Worthy go at it, which is going to be great. I'm curious to see, do you say it Jatavius Sanders? Jatavion. I think he's incredible, Ketch. The dude, so how do they utilize him? And he's that dangerous, right? Like, this guy is the real deal.
He really is. They probably sandbagged a little bit with, I don't think they go to him nearly enough. Think about a guy like O.J. Howard back in the day, not that long ago at Alabama. Jatavion Sanders is much better than O.J. Howard.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He is not a good blocker, but you get him matched up with safeties or linebackers, and he beats them. And he gets down the field. They didn't get him down the field a lot. He almost had a touchdown, actually, on a play on the right side, which is not Quinn Ewers' strength. Mm-hmm. Texas had two receivers run into each other. So Jordan Whittington's defensive back had his head turned, and as Whittington was catching the ball, the other defender who didn't see it coming broke the pass up with the back of his helmet. Otherwise, it would have been actually a really nice touchdown from Ewers to Sanders. They didn't go to Sanders a lot yesterday. I think that's one of the big stories in this game is, to me, I think Sanders needs to be targeted between 5 and 8 times in this game. And there have been weeks and games, and maybe this is the opposing team doing a really good job of mitigating his success, but Texas doesn't consistently go to Sanders in volume. And the thing is, he's their best guy down the field. Last year caught 7 of 8 passes from 20 yards or more. He can be a playmaker, but Texas has to try to get him the ball. And I can't tell you going into the game that I would think that they would, but I think that in every game, and it doesn't happen every game. And it didn't happen on Saturday. Granted, Rice, and granted, mitigating circumstances there. But when the game was still in doubt, when the first team offense is still trying to get into a rhythm, they're not consistently throwing the ball to Sanders. And it's a bit of a surprise when it doesn't happen. You would think that Worthy and Sanders would be the obvious 1-2 punch in the passing game, but it hasn't really come to fruition like that.
Catch, here is Milroe's passing chart on Pro Football Focus. Small sample size, but effective. And this is what people wanted to see. Like, for Alabama, we wanted to see no dropped passes. Alabama caught the football. We wanted to see an improved deep ball from Jalen Milroe. We saw that. And as you can see, 25 yards downfield and to the left, Milroe is 1 for 1, 29 yards and a touchdown, NFL rating of 158.3. Between the numbers, 1 for 1, 47 yards at the touchdown, passing rating of 158.3. That was to Amari Niblack.
They call that perfect in the NFL.
Thank you. That is perfect. And then to the outside right, it is 1 for 2, 48 yards at the touchdown, 135.4. So as you can see, we wanted to see that. We did see that. Yes, it's against middle. I keep saying that, but I can't take away anything. Like, I'm not discrediting Milroe because that's what it was. So he did a great job. And some of those balls, like Alabama tweeted, poetry in motion. Yeah,
They
it
were
was
perfect. They were beautiful, man.
They were great. And I was so happy for him when we got to talk to him after the game. We didn't talk to the quarter. So, Catch, they released the depth chart at the game, and it said Jalen Milroe or Tyler Buckner or Ty Simpson or Dylan Lonergan. Like, come on, man. Like, we knew that this was the guy. And so for them to bring him out, he spoke very eloquently, and he was pumped up. But he said, look, I have to improve. And he does. He has to improve. And they put Tyler Buckner in there, and they put Ty Simpson in there as well. Each of those guys had rushing touchdowns, ironically. There was 4 rushing touchdowns from the Alabama quarterbacks yesterday. Kind of strange. But look, Jalen Milroe did what he was supposed to do in week 1. And this is a very tall task. And I think it comes to the offensive line providing protection. And it comes down to Jalen Milroe being a playmaker. Let's kind of end on this.
Hey, real quick, Kyle. Yeah. You see, where you point out that Milroe is 3 for 4 on those deep throws.
Yeah.
0 for 6 for Ewers.
Yeah. That's crazy.
And so if you want to know on tomorrow morning or whenever these coaches meet with the media to talk about this week's game, Texas will be feeling the opposite of Alabama with regards to the confidence that they built in their ability to stretch the defense and provide some real over-the-top fear. I mean, Texas is going to have to be wary of the big play, whereas I think Alabama is going to think to themselves, we have to neutralize Texas in the middle of the field. And if they out of nowhere become great over the top down the field, then maybe we'll take our chances there. Because Texas hasn't been great there in the last 13, 14 games with Ewers as the quarterback. Mm-hmm. If I'm Alabama, I'm tempted to really come in and crowd some of these intermediate areas. Mm-hmm. And I don't think I'm scared of Texas going deep because Quinn Ewers just doesn't do it very well. It'll be interesting to see what Alabama does from a scheme standpoint against a team that I think really lacks confidence and execution in the very part of the field that Jalen Milroe was exceptional in on Saturday night.
Yeah, we'll see if he can continue to stay exceptional. Like I said, I mean, like he couldn't have performed any better and silenced so many critics. Because there was a lot of people who wanted a different quarterback in there. It was almost the same thing as when people didn't want Mac Jones to start in 2020, the COVID season. They're like, play Bryce Young. He's never played a college snap, but play him anyway. Mac Jones played last year against Arkansas, and he was terrible. And then Mac Jones comes in, he's 77%, percentage efficiency-wise, and wins a natty. And people were like, he's pretty good. So, but imagine Jalen Milroe, Catch, that you have a Bryce Young statue, first-round pick in the NFL. You have Mac Jones in the NFL. You have Jalen Hurts, your first name. He led the Eagles to a Super Bowl last year. And then you have Tua Tagovailoa, the most loved. So you know what? When Tua lived here in Tuscaloosa, people loved him more than Nick Saban. I promise you. It was unbelievable. And when he got hurt, there was truckloads, I'm serious, truckloads of get well cards being dumped off into the football office. They were like stacked as high as you could go. People love Tua more than Nick Saban. So imagine him coming in, like being a quarterback, because now all these quarterbacks going to the NFL, all the outside noise, and to perform at that high of a level. The first touchdown was unbelievable. Like that was a remarkable play.
I thought Hurts was the best part of the offense last night. That I didn't think Alabama ran the ball especially well. I mean, they were okay, but they weren't gashing Middle Tennessee State. And look, Texas didn't gash Rice. It's why I think both of these two defenses are going to be licking their chops a little bit, especially in these offensive line matchups. The team that's, I think, able to hit a few big plays, I don't see either of these offenses having sustained drives, going down the field. We're not going to see a lot of the defenses are too good. If you're going to have to go 8 to 10 plays on either of these two defenses, I question the execution ability to do so. So I think it's going to come down to big plays on offense, This is a big play game in all three phases, but I think more than continued series by series success, I think these offenses are going to live and die by, can they have playmakers who make big plays? Because I don't see a lot of 10-play, 80-yard drives that don't end prematurely because the defenses on both sides of the ball make plays. They get stops. They force turnovers. They make the other team make mistakes on third downs. That's what really good defenses do. We know Alabama has that. I mean, we just do. I think Texas has that. And I think Saturday night will give them an opportunity to either prove me right, or I'll come across as, if Alabama ends up having its way with Texas, then it'll be like, oh, my confirmation bias kicked in. I've seen players too much, and I overrated them because I've seen them so much. But I think it's going to be a physical game.
Yep.
I think these two defenses are going to get after it, and I think it'll be determined by which team's best players, playmakers, in all three phases execute a little bit better than the other. I think Alabama probably wins this game, maybe by 10 points. I don't come away from yesterday thinking Texas is ready to beat Alabama.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be a one-possession game into the fourth quarter. And I think Alabama probably wears Texas out a little bit like they did a year ago.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's Geoff Ketchum. Ketch, I appreciate your time as always. Thank you so much for everything you've done for my career. Just outside of everything, I respect your work. I know you're a father, a business owner. I've always admired your game, your straight takes, the brand that you've built. And I really appreciate your time tonight. And I will read you the favor. I'm actually speaking with Anwar tomorrow at 8 a.m. And then I'm talking with you at Wednesday. So we'll cross paths, and it's finally here, the college football Super Bowl, as I'm calling it. So thank you so much, Ketch. You enjoy the rest of your Sunday night. I know you're turning on that game right now, so enjoy your Sunday night. And once again, I appreciate you being here.
I've been watching the game here, and you're here. So if you've noticed, my head's been doing a lot of this. We can multitask over here. Hey, thanks for having me. I really enjoyed it. You're one of my favorite guys in the entire industry. I think you're a pioneer. I don't know that Alabama fans can truly appreciate what you bring to the market and how you, I think, are the tide that probably lifts all boats, because everybody around you has to compete with you and try to stay with you with regards to things like the YouTube channel and how successful that's been. So from one pioneer to another, keep up the good work, my man. And who knows, like one of these days, I'm convinced one of these days we'll come together. It'll be like superpowers uniting. But for now, I will bid you farewell, and I'll talk to you on Wednesday. All right. Thanks, Ketch. I appreciate you, man. You got it. All right. Geoff Ketchum. And how about this? Elizabeth Reed with the $150 super chat. This is the studio that she built. Roll Tide, roll. I believe in the Tide. Got to get back to the fam at the lake. I believe in this team because this team as a whole seems more focused. I feel like Texas always has confidence. The Tide just needs to show what they're capable of. In Nick, we trust. Phone lines are open. I want to take your calls. I want to hear from you regarding this Alabama team as we go into week 2. Call line is 205-850-1994. Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube, coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I was showing the Pro Football Focus stats, and what Jalen was able to do. I'm gonna put that super chat back up there because I've never been remotely had a super chat like that. Thank you again, Elizabeth. That's crazy. Appreciate it. Call line is 205-850-1994. And I think this certainly stands out when we look to Jalen Milroe in the Pro Football Focus. I showed this morning. Show it again real quick. Call line is open 205-850-1994. Outside left, between the numbers, outside right was magnificent and just did a really exceptional job in terms of distributing the football. Credit to the young man for doing that. I was looking at Alabama and kind of, as we did the rewatch and looked at the game, here are a couple items that stood out to me
when looking at Alabama after week 1. And again, call line is open, 205-850-1994. And for me, this is the good. Okay. Real simple, real easy. The penalties. And what I mean by that is lack thereof. Alabama just having 2 penalties last night was phenomenal, considering this was something that we wanted to see from Alabama. Nick Saban talks about having the right psychological disposition when you are in game situations. And what that means to me is understanding that you don't have to jump off sides to beat your counterpart. And Coach Saban talked about that. He's like, look, why do you have to create a penalty if you can win the actual, the jump ball, for example? So the penalties, that was amazing. And going into this game, that is something that you're going to continue to have against Texas. We look to last year's game against Texas. Call line is open, 205-850-1994. And there was so many penalties, right? Like I had never seen, how many penalties did William Anderson have? You're talking about a first-round draft pick. It was just, I think the atmosphere had a lot to do with that. And I know Coach Sean specifically has wanted to see Alabama fans get on their feet. And I think we had a super chat come in from Jarrett, and he was saying, can you speak on how loud the game was yesterday? It was loud, but it wasn't deafening. Now, Bryant Denny can get deafening. And I think the last time that it was deafening was against LSU in a game, ironically, they lost. But that was a game where people had to stand on their feet and kind of jump up and down and really kind of put themselves into that game. So I think crowd atmosphere is really going to play a major part in this, but the penalties was great from the jump. Open field tackling, I think Alabama did a great job in open field tackling. I know it sounds mundane, but tackling in the open space is so important, especially when you go against a team like Texas. You have to carry that from week 1 into week 2. You can't lose sight of how dangerous these weapons are at Texas. I kind of feel that, we didn't hit on the running backs enough for Texas, and I know they don't have Bijan Robinson anymore, but their running backs, I mean, if you watch the Rice game, I thought they were pretty good, really strong. And Geoff was saying we had 15, Kyle, to less than that Tennessee game, talking about the penalties. I know the penalties were crazy. Jalen Milroe, unbelievable performance last night. I mean, I'm so happy for the kid to come out and just ball out like that. Playing in, the national game of the week, how will he perform? How can he carry that over? And again, we got a score update. Florida State 7, LSU 7. Appreciate that. We got a phone, our first call in. It's a 313. Take that in just 1 second. Catching the ball. This is something that we wanted to see. Heard about the drops all fall camp. Kobe Prentice came through. Amari Niblack came through. Jermaine Burton came through. These guys caught the football when the ball was in air. And I know Ja'Cory Brooks didn't play that first half. We don't know what type of a suspension what it was, but Coach Saban handles those things internally. Clearly did something, or else he would have played in the first half. Isaiah Bond came through. I think you got to get that young man the football. You got to be creative. I want to see how Tommy Rees utilizes him in this next game. I think he's going to play a vital role, to be honest, as well as the tight ends. Danny Lewis came out starting along with Amari Niblack. Those are your 2 tight ends. CJ Dupree did also, I guess, start. There's so many starters, right, based on formations. And then Caleb Downs is a true freshman. How about him showing out, had the most tackles on Alabama's defense last night as just a freshman. He is going to be tested, challenged by Texas going into this game. Corey, this is very interesting. He's asking about any injuries for Alabama. We are tracking injuries, and on Monday we will get to hear from Coach Saban at 12 p.m. and get to ask him on Malachi Moore, Jalen Key, both those guys in Alabama secondary. Also, both are starters. I've been seeing Jalen Key post on Instagram all night, so he's not like in a boot or a cat. So that's usually kind of a good sign. There were some people that were saying Malachi was okay, but again, I'm not going to say anything until you hear from Nick Saban, because he knows, so especially with injuries, you never want to report something that you just don't know about. But we did notice that Emmanuel Henderson, who's a wide receiver, is out on crutches. With that said, let's get the party started. 313, you're up. Let's do it. Oh, give me 1 second, because I got to change this audio setting. Just 1 second before we get started, and then we'll do it right. All right. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
You're on the line with Darrell from Detroit, Kyle.
Darrell from Detroit. I appreciate you calling in from Detroit. What's on your mind following Alabama's victory over middle going into this week 2 matchup?
So the first thing that I liked was the depth at every position. At every position, from receiver, running back, everybody that got in has potential starter type of potential. Young, Jam, Roydell, Jace, all those guys ran great. Again, all the receivers, Kobe Prentice, like you said, Ja'Cory Brooks came in late with that first play when he came in, just off the line of scrimmage, down the field, almost a touchdown. Our linebackers, the interior linebackers, just the depth. Deontay Lawson, Kendrick Blackshire, seeing all those guys fly around and actually make tackles in the open field, like you said. Go back to the Alabama standard of having gang tackling at the ball. Just everything as far as the depth and the execution looked great. And then we get to Milroe. I don't think it was anything wrong. It's just he kind of got into the groove late. You know, it's like he still had some of those jitters that we saw from last year when he got in. And that's cool because it's the first game. But after that, he performed wonderfully. The offensive line, they looked like they got everything, you know, rolling, and they got into a rhythm. Just the continuity and, like I said, the depth is our strong point this season. And I think, honestly, no matter who's the quarterback, with us going back to the Bama standard and having all of this amazing depth at every position, talent that's ready to go out there and execute, and having a selfless attitude, I think we're only going to national championship. We're going to definitely see where we at. Texas is going to be our measuring stick early in the season. But one of the things last year was, I believe, our secondary wasn't playing the best. But with what I've seen so far, again, with the depth, the defensive line play, the interior linebackers, I don't think we really have too much to worry about with Quentin Williams. I see us actually really handling Texas the way that we should have last year.
On with Daryl from Detroit. You know, I do like this early mentality of this team. You know, I think that they look, nobody can completely block out the noise. And this team knows that people are doubting them. This team knows that people don't believe in them. So I like to see them collectively as a team just kind of come out and did what they did. I mean, they played a really good 4 quarters of football. But it was okay on first quarter, second quarter. But then you started to see them really piece it together, and you started to see defensive adjustments, offensive adjustments sooner than later. And I loved, you know, what they did with Jalen. I thought they were creative. It was like, call me crazy, but did you guys see it felt much better with Tommy Reese and Kevin Still as the OC and DC than it did with Pete and Bill O'Brien, right? I think that you could just feel it.
It was a comfortability with the team that we hadn't had last year.
Yeah. And I get it. Like, the new guy is always better, whatever. It just felt different. It felt like the defense was just coming with it. It felt like the offense had a little bit more continuity. The design play to Amari Niblack was when he came out, and you guys saw it on social media where Saban's talking about it, and they are able to cheat up the safety from Middle Tennessee and kind of take advantage of that. And then Jalen Milroe with pocket presence is able to hit Amari down the field. That was a creative play to the tight end. I'm serious. Like, if you're out there and you're game planning for Alabama, you're like, whoa, this is something that we didn't see last year. Tommy Reese, that was a good drawn-up play, executed perfection, and like Alabama said, poetry in motion. I know that wasn't like the specific tweet, but that was a damn good throw by Jalen Milroe. Really good route by Amari. Really good pass protection. Those are all the things that you want to see from an offensive first game. What else you got, Daryl?
Exactly. And that's, like you said, we're just going back to the offense. I think like you said, the continuity, that package, that 12 formation with having the tight ends, where our tight ends are so versatile between Niblack, Ketchum, Danny Lewis, Robbie Oots, CJ Dupree. We can still attack every level of the field from every different formation. Now, the only thing that I didn't really love, that I think we got away from, we got this huge offensive line. We haven't gone I formation in the goal line in a while. Throw Robbie Boots down there, fullback, and just ram that thing in.
Yeah.
Because that was always one of our strengths inside the 5-yard line.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we're going to take these. They showed the graphic. The line is bigger than NFL line.
I know.
Jam that thing in there. Go back to Alabama standard and run the ball down people's throat. Make defensive linemen and linebackers say, "Oh shit!" I'm sorry. We say, "Oh crap!"
No, you have to come. No, you know what? This is YouTube, man. This isn't the radio. This isn't TV, man. You want to say shit? Say it, man. It's all good. Just have fun with it. So no, but I get what you're saying. Like
exactly. But
but you bring up a great point. You have Robbie Oots, who's 260 pounds. You could throw in a CJ Dupree or one of your bigger tight ends as well. Go heavy with your 12 personal set inside the goal line. Dish it out. You know, the running backs like Roydell Williams looked nice. Jace looked nice. Richard Young looked nice. Yeah. Justice Haynes, he looked nice. I'm telling you, Sean came up with this. I didn't come up with this, but he would like reach into a jar and pull out a running back.
Browns and Justice Haynes do not look like freshmen at all.
Right? I know. Yeah. Just run those dudes, man, when you get into the goal line. Then, or either or, you have Jalen Milroe. Hey, Daryl, I got to run to my next caller, man. I appreciate the love from Detroit. Enjoy the LSU-Florida State game. We'll provide an update inside the comment box. Call in anytime.
I'm watching now. Roll damn time.
All right, roll down top to you, man. Take it easy, bro. All right, Daryl up in Detroit, getting the party started. 217 and a 214, or 917 and a 214 inside the comment box. We are talking Alabama football after the week 1 victory over Middle going into this Texas game. Call in. Let's chat. And 917, let's get it. Hey, you're on the line with Kyle Henderson.
Hey, yo.
Who are on the line with and where are you calling in from?
Roll Tide.
What's up, Roll Tide, man? What's your name and where are you calling from?
I said it was Connor. I'm in Nashville right now, but I'm from Florence, Muscle Shoals, Alabama. So Roll Tide all day. We're not even thinking about Tennessee, but I just want to give you props first and foremost because I tuned in. I just came across you this year, and I'm on top of my stuff. So I was like, man, how I've been missing this, Mm-hmm. And I appreciate everything you're doing and really getting into it and talking Alabama football, not all this big-time media trying to talk down on Bama because we're the greatest dynasty they've ever seen in their life in sports history. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I appreciate it, man.
So what I love is I'm not a football guy that I know the ins and outs, so I got to come to people like y'all and get that inside information. But at the same time, I got to zoom back, and this is Alabama football, right? We got to this point where we're the top dog, right? Alabama, everybody knows. But it's not always been like that. And Alabama as a state in the United States is an underdog. You know what I mean? You go out of state, out of Alabama. Oh, Alabama, what are you walking on gravel roads and doing stuff with your cousin? Everybody talks down on Alabama to begin with. So if you know Alabama, which most people probably have never been there in their life, college football, Alabama, Auburn is life.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's deeper than football. So just zooming back, it's not the first year, but I feel so excited about this year, man, because I feel like we're getting back to where we were before. You know what I mean?
I think
because of people doubting and so we need just that drive. I want to see the Reggie Ragland. You know what I mean? I don't care if you want to. I'm not talking down on Bryce and this. I love the Jake Cokers, to run the ball, like the defense, this is Alabama. It's not about, we lost our Heisman, all this. So anyone doubting, it's like, have you not been watching for the past, how long has it been, dude? You know what I mean? How long has it been? If we didn't win the championship, we are in the conversation of the second best team based on a play in a game or a couple plays or a bad game dude, this is an unbelievable dynasty, and this year I'm loving it. For me, all the talk, the quarterback talk, I was not worried because I saw Jalen Milroe last year in his little time he got to play, busting heads, quarterback, running, hitting defenders. That's that Jake Coker. That's the spirit. You know what I mean? And so to me this year, the great moment of the game for me was when it was the bad snap. Jalen picked it up, ran it in, remind me of Jalen Hurts. Right? Oh, we were questioning, who's the quarterback? Jalen Hurts come in, fumble his first thing for the touchdown. What did he do? Come back composure, and it's Jalen Hurts to the point. They were talking about him on Bama. oh, he can't throw that well. Where's he at now? In the Super Bowl with Philly, running the game, doing great things. You know, it's Bama, and that's all I got. I just got a rant. You know what I mean? Because I just was so excited. Yesterday was just so fun to watch and listening to you. And you know, I was watching your feed before. You know, just in the box, like, oh, they're not even showing the Bama game. Like, let me get on the field with you. You know what I mean? And I just appreciate it. And we love this thing, man. And these other states, I've lived in California. I think I heard you mention you lived out there, and I listen to sports radio, and they're talking. Nobody even cares about the games out here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
this is our life and blood.
Well,
like,
yeah. Well, that was the
something
thing. So, like, Connor, you're right, because when I did live in Los Angeles, like, look, USC is downtown, and you know, when I go downtown, I drive right by USC. In fact, I have a cousin who currently plays golf out at USC. Gavin Aurelia, look him up. He'll be on the tour soon enough. Dude's a baller.
Okay.
But they have the Dodgers, they have the Lakers, right? They got their pro football teams, right? They got traffic. Here in Alabama, you don't have a pro team. The pro team is the Alabama Crimson Tide. The pro team, or the semi-pro, the semi-pro team is Auburn. So I think
traffic we do have down there. There's no traffic, right? But on Saturday, there's no traffic. Why? Because everyone's in the house watching the game.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So, no, I get it. Hey, Connor, I got to run to my next call, man. I appreciate the support.
The kid was going to my buddy's house, and his dad, it was Alabama Auburn game. I come in the house. He's like, oh, who you rooting for? At the time, I didn't know. I was a kid. I was in, you know, I just moved there. I was like, oh, Auburn. He's like, I'm glad you said that, because if not, you would have to leave. And he was dead serious.
Yeah.
And you can't even be in the house right now. You know what I mean? I don't know. I just love it. You know, it's a different breed of football, and it's more than football. You know, so I'm excited for the season, and I'm loving everything you do. You know.
I appreciate it, Connor. Connor, I got to run to my next caller, man, but I appreciate the support, and we'll catch up with you soon. I don't know. Okay, give me 1 second. I lost the connection over here, so 1 second, please. I'll be right back. Hang tight, fam. Give me like 2 seconds. All right. I'm back. Slight difficulty. This is, you know, I do all like the back end stuff, the calls, all of the engineering. So 214, you're up next. Let's get it. Hey, you're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who are we on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Hi. Am I online right now?
Yes, you are.
Okay, this is Elizabeth Reed. How are you?
No way. This is Elizabeth. Thanks for calling. We've all been wondering about you, and you built this studio. I know you got to go to the lake. But first of all, I just want to say thank you very much for the support. We appreciate it. We know you're excited about Alabama, Texas. So with that, you got the open mic. What you want to talk about? And we're coming to you from the studio that you built, by the way. So thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. And what you got? What's on your mind, Elizabeth?
Well, thank you so much. First of all, thank you. I support all Bama, everything. With that being said, I don't want to sound like a football expert or anything like that. I guess my question for you, I know we've gone so much in detail on this earlier, but I just want to, being born and raised in Dallas, I will fully admit I'm a TCU grad, but my family is huge Bama fans, so that's why I support all things Bama. Do you think that? I mean, Texas has been claiming they're back for like 10 plus years. Do you really believe that they're back, or do you think that? What are your thoughts on Bama, on Texas in terms of truly what they are and if they can compete in the long term?
So I think that Steve Sarkeesian is a very good coach, and I think it stems from him, right? Because we saw what happened to him at USC. And the reason that I like his story is because of he rebuilt himself. And I think sometimes in life you do have to have a reset. And it's okay to have a reset. It's okay to have a restart. And it's important to rebuild yourself. And he did that. He went out to the Atlanta Falcons and, worked on himself out there. And then when he came to Coach Saban, he rebuilt himself out here. And he did a great job for Coach Saban. I thought he did a great job leading Alabama's offense, won a national title over here, did a great job, and then, landed the Texas job. How could he not leave Alabama? I mean, when Texas calls, I get it. What he's doing with Texas, I think, is on the right track. And with that said, there's always Texas hype, just kind of like the Dallas Cowboys, right? Like every year, this is the year they're going to go to the Super Bowl, and then it's like something spins out. Texas has as large a brand as Alabama, even though they don't have the marquee wins that Alabama does. It's just a huge brand. So that's why they're excited. And they do have the weapons. Look, they have Quinn at quarterback, who's a very capable quarterback, very good. And they got the Manning kid kind of down there and waiting. And is he going to be worth the hype? I guess we'll just have to see when he does get his opportunities. They do have wide receivers that are very dangerous. That number 0 on their team, Detarius Sanders, he's the real deal, 100%. Xavier Worthy, real deal, 100%. So they're going to present challenges for Alabama's defense in some aspect. But with that said, I think, there's not a lot of teams that have ever come in here to Bryant-Denny Stadium and push an Alabama led Nick Saban around. Maybe the Johnny Manziel and the Johnny football documentary. He came in, he was a baller, Heisman Trophy winner. And the other one to do it was Joe Burrow, who was also a Heisman winner. Just as Geoff Ketchum had said earlier in the show, Quinn doesn't throw the best deep ball. But with that said, it's kind of like, but they have the weapons to do it. So just because he wasn't effective in the first game doesn't mean that he's not going to be effective during the season. They were really good last year, and I thought that their crowd made it a very difficult environment in Alabama, and I think Alabama fans should do the same thing for Texas. I don't think there should be one fan that is sitting down in Bryant-Denny Stadium. Bryant-Denny Stadium should be rocking. When the lights go down, that place should be electric. It should be electric all 4 quarters, and I think they should make it very challenging, and that's going to stem a lot of momentum into this, into the locker room, into the sidelines for Alabama. Texas is a good team. Are they for real? Are we buying into, the overall hype? Maybe in some aspects for the Big 12 this year, maybe so. But I think in terms of them making the playoffs or anything like that, they got to prove it. They got to beat, Alabama first and foremost, and they got to continue to play consistent throughout the season. I don't know if they have the firepower to do it. They might. It's a long season, and I think if they do beat Alabama this coming Saturday, their schedule is pretty favorable. I know they have a back-end game with Iowa State and Texas Tech, which could be difficult games to win. But if they beat Alabama, they could definitely make a run. It's going to be tough to do at Bryant-Denny Stadium. I know there's people out there that said that, they expect Texas to win by 10 points at Bryant-Denny Stadium. No. That's not the case. Vegas doesn't miss often, although they did with your TCU Horned Frogs right against Colorado. I'm sure you're watching that game when Coach Prime, he was on fire. But Texas, they have a good team. So they're going to have, plenty of opportunities, to prove themselves. So I guess we'll just have to see. What else you got for me, Elizabeth?
Oh, no, nothing else. I appreciate your taking my call. I mean, I'm, like I said, I'm a TCU grad, so obviously I cheer for TCU. My family, I'll be honest, never believed in TCU when they got to the playoffs last year. And so this next week is going to be hell dealing with them since we lost. So, I appreciate it. Nothing really else. Kind of more, was just interested in your take, because in Texas is always quote unquote back. You know what I'm saying? So you never know when they're actually back and when they're not. So you never know, but I mean, TCU's beaten them in the past. So I have no doubt that the king of college football, the GOAT, which is undoubtedly Nick Saban, can handle himself. So let's go. Roll Tide.
Yeah, Roll Tide to you. Well, thank you so much for the support, Elizabeth. Call in anytime, and we really appreciate the support. I sincerely appreciate it, honestly. So thanks for helping the channel go, and thanks for believing in me, the product, and Bama football. We appreciate you.
All right, Roll Tide. Have a good night.
See you, Elizabeth. All right, that was Elizabeth Reed calling in. This is the studio that she built. If you're wondering why, check the super chats. That's why. We appreciate you. Call line is open 205-850-1994. Can I get a score update inside the comment box? I want to watch the game too. We got a 201, a 334, and 325 coming in. And let's get it. 201. We start right now. Hey, you on the line with Kyle Henderson? Who I'm on the line with and where are you calling in from?
Hey, Kyle, this is Adam calling from Georgia. How you doing?
What's up, Adam? I appreciate you calling in again, man. It's good to talk to you. What's on your mind as we turn our page to week 2?
Yeah. And by the way, it's 7-7 in the game.
Thank you.
I thought that we looked really good last night. And looking ahead to Texas, one of my concerns is whether the defensive line is going to be able to get to Ewers because their wideouts are legit, and if they don't, I think it could be a real challenge for us. So I was just wondering what your opinion was about whether you think our D-line is going to be able to pressure Ewers.
Yeah, I think so. I think when you look to Alabama's defense, what was tough about the pass rush Saturday night was the fact that, and I've said this a few times, that Middle got the football out so fast. And that was part of their game plan. That's part of the air raid, right? You don't sit back there and, bomb it downfield. It's short chunks. With that said, I did like what I saw from Alabama's pass rush. Q Robinson, Chris Broswell, Dallas Turner, Deontay Lawson up the middle. I did like that. I was a little bit, there was one play that I was worried about, or that crosses my mind. And I get it. Quinn, he's an athletic guy, but there was that one time where they split everybody out and Trez got caught. Trez Marshall is the inside linebacker, got caught on the outside, and then the quarterback ran for 25, 30-yard gain. I don't see that happening a lot, but those are type of plays that you do have to eliminate, and I think Alabama has the athleticism to do that. We are tracking the updates. If you're just joining us or if you're just, kind of wondering about the injuries on Malachi Moore and Jalen Key, when we know more about that, we'll bring them to you. We'll create another video or whatever in terms of the injuries. But I think the Alabama pass rush is up to the task. It's going to come down to if Alabama can get to Quinn. And last year they did. Right. Unfortunately, Quinn, got knocked out of the game by Dallas Turner. I know everybody from Texas knows Dallas Turner. He's coming back. That was kind of a monumental, impact on the game. But yeah, right. I do think that Alabama will be able to get pressure on Quinn, to be honest. And Chris Broswell, he was way more athletic, than I anticipated him to be this year over year.
He was. Because
he seemed a little bit not as athletic last year, and I was like, come on, man, he's a 5-star. No, he worked on his craft because he looked good, and so did Q Robinson. So I like those guys coming in, and I think they'll get pressure on Quinn this coming Saturday.
Awesome. Well, thanks for the answer, and great to talk to you. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide to you. Thank you very much, Adam. Adam calling in from behind enemy lines. 334 and a 325 inside the call queue. 334, let's get it right now. Hey, you're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
This is Ronnie from Opelika, Alabama.
Ronnie, what's up? Good evening. I appreciate you calling in on Sunday night. What's on your mind as we turn to week 2 of the college football season?
Well, I'm appreciative for the win. I take all wins, no questions asked. Mm-hmm. I take 14 more just like this straight in a row. Mm-hmm. But as we look at to the other side, as we look at the pro football scores, mm-hmm. the one who's got the most criticism graded a 92.3. That was Jalen Miro. Mm-hmm. He's been criticized all off season. He can't throw. He threw some nice deep balls. Yeah. And looks like the offensive line is still stuck in Bryce's here. Let him win the game. Because they average 57.6 pro football focus scores. Do you think that's going to be good enough to win a championship with?
I think it's too small of a sample size right now regarding the offensive line. They certainly have the size. They're bigger than an NFL team. I've heard that before. Size is great if you want to pound the ball. But you also need athletic offensive linemen if you want to stop a pass rush. With that said, they did do a good job against pass pro, but it's against middle. different caliber coming in, different players that you're going to have to go against throughout the entire season. I get it. You take 14 more like this all day long. Jalen Milroe can throw the football 100%. If they can keep him clean, Alabama makes a strong run. If Jalen Milroe has to escape the pocket, you're going to be in trouble because of his playmaking ability. I wasn't impressed with, some of the play from some of the offensive linemen. I know Jarian Dalcourt has been criticized. I felt even at times the tackles look slow. It's a small sample size. I want to see what happens when the Bullets start flying against Texas to make another assessment about the offensive line. But I would say above average offensive line. And as Coach Rick Stockstill said, they're enormous. We knew they're ginormous. We knew that going in, but sometimes ginormous doesn't have the athleticism that you need. So we'll see. But I like to get another sample size of this offensive line in week 2 against Texas, who's definitely going to come with it. What else you got, Ronnie? Good call, by the way.
And the defensive line, I was pretty satisfied with it. I no longer consider Amari Neblack a tight end. He is a ride out. He has the hands. He extended the hands and caught the ball. Touchdown. I'm okay with the rest of the wide receivers. They scored good.
Yep.
I'm okay with the linebackers, the safeties, the cornerbacks.
Mm-hmm.
They scored pretty well. It was the offensive line and the defensive line. I thought I didn't have to see the 2 defensive linemen again, but I guess they thought they had to do it since it was an air raid. But their scores were low. Defensive line scored low as well. But could it be that we will see different plays that we did not see against Middle? We will see them against Texas.
Mm-hmm.
What their bread and butter really is. Could it be possible? I certainly hope it is.
Mm-hmm.
Because offense, you got to win on the line of scrimmage in the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
We must.
I think that I agree with you that Amari Neblack is a ride out. I co-sign on that 100%. Yeah, he's got the speed, he's got the athleticism, and I agree with you about the secondary play. Like those guys came with it. It was nice to see a turnover. I think what they have, like someone brought this up earlier today in the show. I didn't know. They say Alabama had 7 interceptions last year. Just 7? That's crazy. Like Middle Tennessee had 20 interceptions last year. Like you need to create turnovers. That's another thing that I noticed when I was watching Texas today. I think they had 3 interceptions. Opportunistic defense. On with Ronnie. Anything else? Why have you on? You want to make a final point before I move to our next caller?
That's it. Thank you.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Roll Tide to you. We got a 325 and a 334 inside the comment box. Also have a call open. I know you guys are enjoying that LSU Florida State game. I'll probably go for another 25 minutes or so, and then I'll peel out as well. This week coming up, you can notate it. The schedule is going to always be the same during the college football season. I know, it's a holiday but we don't stop here on Bama Football on YouTube. We'll still have Coach Saban's press conference. There's no it's the holidays taking off. No. There's no off time in college football. Every day during the week is the same thing. It's great because Coach Saban is so organized with his schedule. It allows you to set up your week because just like you, I'm a dad. I got kids. This is my job. So everything is scheduled. So Coach Saban tomorrow, 12 p.m. Following him, player interviews. I actually get to talk to Ja'Cory Brooks tomorrow. So that will be a good interview and, kind of get to see that mentality from an older wide receiver. I wonder if anyone's going to ask him, why he was suspended. He'll just be like, that was an internal issue. So those are coming tomorrow along with the injury updates. So we'll provide that to you right here on Bama Football on YouTube. 325, let's get it. Hey, thanks for being patient. I appreciate you calling in. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with and where are you calling in from?
This is Vic, and I'm calling in from Texas.
Vic, what's up, man? Thank you very much for calling in.
What's going on?
Yeah, I like the Texas calls, man. We're starting to get some Texas calls coming in. You're one of them. What's on your mind, man, as we turn the page towards this week 2 showdown?
I agree with the last caller. I don't really think the offensive line and the defensive line were clicking real good, but everywhere else was hitting. Jalen Milroe, he did his thing, and I was very happy with the receivers this year too. They balled out, if you ask me. And then DBs, they came and brought their game. Linebackers, I saw Tresman Marshall and what's the other one? Kendrick Blackshire. They both were in there, and I did see Quadarius Robinson. I think he got a few snaps at middle linebacker too. I was surprised with that.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, one of my favorite plays kind of on that back end was when Kendrick Blackshire just ripped the football out of right? Like that's what we want. That is that mentality.
Yeah,
go out and just not only wrap up, but hey, take the football away, which led to a score. Yeah. So, that was really great to see. And I was happy to see him play. And I know a lot of people were excited about him because, he's from Texas. Everybody was excited about him coming in. It's taken him a little bit to get onto the field, but he's waited his time. And then to see him come out and have that performance last night, he's number 40 if you're looking at the photos that I have kind of rotating on the screen. So that was good to see him. A couple of Texas guys shining out, right? Jalen Milroe, Kendrick Blackshire, right, doing their thing. Did you guys see, by the way, Vic, I'm sure you watched Colorado and TCU. Sorry to switch up real quick, but that just jogged my memory. I saw JoJo Earl contribute for TCU. Yeah. I saw Trey Sanders score a touchdown.
Trey Sanders,
right?
Man, I was happy when.
Yeah, me too.
Trey Sanders had like 3 touchdowns. I was like, heck yeah.
And that's a crazy story because when Trey Sanders was here, and you guys know he was a 5-star, came here, and then he got in that horrific automobile accident. I don't know if you guys, I'm sure most of you guys know this, but when they called Alabama to inform Coach Saban that he was in the hospital. They said that he might not make it. Being like he might not live. So his story to come back and play at Alabama and before transferring out, that was amazing. That was such an amazing story. So I'm really happy for him. And Colorado, I thought they moved the ball really effectively. And Travis Hunter, he's 100% the truth. Having a interception. And on the defense, he was balling out for sure. So back to Bama football though. It wasn't a perfect game in the trenches. That's okay. Small sample size. I do still because I was even one harping about the offensive line that I'm excited about seeing this offensive line, and I just like I was saying to Ronnie before you. I just want another sample size. I want to see them go against Texas, who has a lot of athleticism, who's going to be coming from Jalen, who's going to be trying to take advantage of, his, just everything that you would as a defense. So it's a great matchup, but I'm not going to cast out the offensive line because of bad Pro Football Focus grades just yet. And the great thing about Pro Football Focus grades is you can organize the player grades as you go forward through the season based off the total number of snaps. So once these players have 250 snaps, then you can start to talk about how they're doing collectively. But in terms of one game out the gates, and who knows, they didn't really show too much and they were rotating running backs. So maybe let's just kind of hold off before we make a strong assessment. But from what we saw, it wasn't overwhelming, and they didn't just, kind of do what we expected them to do, but who knows? What else you got, Vic?
Yeah. And I was thinking, Jalen Milroe and Jace McClellan, they're both from Texas. They both
that's another name.
And they're going to go into Texas. They're going to both be at home, basically.
Yep. Yeah.
We'll see how that's going to go. And I was wondering if you had an update on Jahaid Campbell. Because I don't know who we're going to see step in that other spot. I don't know if he's going to come back and get that spot back, or Kendrick Blackshire or Marshall's going to take it. If you ask me, it's still up for grabs.
Yeah, I think so. Jahaid Campbell, inside linebacker, and he had his knee scoped, I think, maybe a week before the first game. Coach Saban said that he's probable for this game against Texas. Again, he'll be another guy that we probably get an update on, if not tomorrow, Wednesday, when Coach Saban speaks for the second time of the week. And we're also tracking Devontae Smith. So That's another name to track. So write this down. So Devontae Smith, Jaha Campbell, those are guys who are, we need updates on. Same thing with Malachi Moore and Devontae and Jalen Key and Emmanuel Henderson. So those are 5 guys to keep track on in terms of the injuries. And I don't think any of them seem too serious, which is a great thing kind of early on because they did escape fall camp relatively healthy. So kind of get an update on that. But I would say Trezman Marshall, and then as you saw, Kendrick Blackshire saw plenty of opportunity. So it'd be good to see another Texas guy against Texas, come Saturday if he does get opportunities. Anything else, Vic, while I have you on before I move to my next caller?
No, that's it, man. I'm just happy we got that dub. Looking forward to the next one, All
right, man. Well, I'll catch up with you next call and show, Vic. Thank you for your support, man, and we'll catch up with you soon.
All right, yes, sir. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide to you, man. We got a 334, and then we're going to catch up with Coach Smook here in just a second. Looks like LSU. Did you say LSU's up? Oh, we got a super chat in from Richard. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Super chats get you on the screen. We need to open the holes up in the running game better against Texas. So we can open 1-on-1 in the play action game. Love it. And that'll be interesting to see if Tommy Rees implements something like this in terms of play action to get to some of these tight ends, because I do feel that Danny Lewis is athletic and everyone's talking about Amari Niblack. I think he could be a really dangerous weapon, and I want to see how Rees is able to continue to utilize him going forward. Appreciate the super chat. I think this is a really key note right here. So thank you very much for your contribution, and we'll go right back to the phone lines, and we will start it up with the 334. Hey, thanks so much for calling in. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
What's up, Kyle, man? It's Corey from Dothan.
Hey, Corey, man. What's up? I appreciate you calling in from Dothan. Sunday night. It's the night where we turn the page to week 2. What's on your mind after getting a dose of a little bit of Alabama Crimson Tide, and as we go into the college football showdown against Texas?
Oh, man. I ain't going to take too much of your time. I just want to say, man, that was a good game from last night. But, man, I think that Texas, that's going to be a good one for us to see what we really at. I just want Miro just to keep that confidence going. And I think we're going to be all right, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Coach Smook is wondering if you guys are cousins.
You said what?
Coach Smook is like, you sound like my cousin.
It might be now. It might be. Like, listen, but man, I think that, man, we gonna we keep that same confidence, man. Them guys become a real explosive. You know what I'm saying? That was like a real good game, man. And I can't even remember like the last season opener that we ever lost. But I think that's why they put Middle Tennessee in front of us so they can get some tape on us. They supposed to get Texas first.
Yeah.
We're supposed to see them first.
Yeah. Well, Texas had Rice, Alabama had Middle, and now it's time to play some big boy football, right? So let's get it on. And like Coach Saban, I love this soundbite when Coach Saban, not only did he say he was like, this is a Coke, this isn't a crystal ball. But when he said, he's like, look, if you want to be the beast, you got to do what the beast do. And, now it's time. So, and that's kind of like to Texas too. Like Texas wants to be the beast. They do. They want to be at this level, right? They have the coach, they have unlimited funds now with NIL, all this stuff. But, this is an opportunity. If you want to be the beast, you got to do what the bees do. You got to win big games. Opportunity on Saturday to do that. Anything else, Corey, while I got you on the line?
Yeah, I agree that like Bama fans we gotta pack that stadium out, man, because Texas gonna try to slide in there, man. And bro, I'm a Cowboy fan, so we come. Texas, they come to the game.
Yeah.
They will try. They like Texas. They fans. They go everywhere.
Well,
man, good show, man. All right, Roll Tide, man. Yeah, I can't wait to say.
All right, man. Cool. Thanks for calling in, Corey. I appreciate it, man. All right, Coach Smook, let's just do it, man. Let's do it right now. And 334 just joined. 804-601-334. Coach Smook, let's do it. Coach Smook, man, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for calling in. Sunday night, LSU on top of Florida State, 17-7. People were expecting Florida State to be in the college football playoffs. Same thing that we hear with Notre Dame every year. This is finally their year. I ain't going to drink any of the Kool-Aid, man. What's on your mind after Alabama Downs middle?
Man, I ain't drinking that Kool-Aid either, man. But I do like what I'm seeing from both LSU and FSU, just to be honest.
Okay.
Like, I see like early competitive teams. These teams are very they've already kind of established. They came into the season already established with their identity, and they're kind of looking like they did. Both teams looking like they did when they ended last season. So, but reaction to the Middle Tennessee State game, I think people react to the fans. Me and Jim were just going back and forth in the chat. And he's very knowledgeable of the game and, the tendencies of this Bama football program under Saban. And I like how he correlates a lot of the instances that we're seeing now to recent, to past successful teams and what, some similarities that we're seeing in mentality. And I think that's what Alabama fans who overreacted the last 2 or 3 years, I think that's what they're excited about. It's been 2 or 3 years since we've seen this type of efficiency on both sides of the ball in the same game. Last year we shut out Utah State 55-0, but it was not a clean game. Last year there was just as much offense we gave up this year against a Middle Tennessee State team who came in more, with more talent than what we played against last year against Utah State. We had less questions on the offensive side of the ball, but we played a cleaner game. And I think that's the biggest thing. One major penalty during meaningful game play time and then a late penalty. So two total penalties against us after being the most penalized team in the SEC, last season. That shows improvement there. And then for Jalen Milroe, the performance that he came out and gave, I think Jalen Milroe did exactly what he needed to do. He didn't try to do too much. He didn't try to make it about Jalen Milroe. What we need to see from Jalen Milroe was him get the ball in the hands of the receivers, in the hands of the playmakers quick. When he had opportunities downfield to give the wide receivers opportunities to make a play on the ball. And we saw that. I think he had a total of 7 passes that were, 15 plus yards or longer, 7 pass attempts, and he was 5 of 7 on those passes. And one of them should have been a pass interference, but ticky-tack call here and there. We'll give it up, but it was still on target. It was a ball that the receiver could have made a play on. And I only saw maybe 1 or 2 misreads where quarterback and receiver were not on the same page, but because of his athleticism, and the offensive line, playing overall, I think offensive line, if I had to grade the overall offensive line as a, group, I give the group a B minus B, and our weakness being at right guard. I don't know, and I know we're going to get more into this in tomorrow's show, but Darren Delacourt and Terrence Ferguson's competition better be, wide open right now, because that showing by Delacourt, the amount of times he got just blown up, the amount of times he was in Jalen Milroe's lap, and when he was releasing the ball, I mean, the lack of ability to get to the second level and at least be take up some space, and make somebody respect you as a body on the field. It was the effort that we need to see from him and the fire that we need to see for us to trust, for me to believe that he was ready to assume that position and he was returning back to that form he had his first year when he had to fill in. I didn't see it. And why try to wait till Texas to prove that? I mean, Ferg got in and played with fire. He didn't care that he was with the second group. He got in and played with physicality. Overall, outside of Dalcourt, offensive line looked solid. Caden Proctor had a few missteps, but he was never a liability at once during the game. The one play where the blitz did come from his side, that's a freshman mistake, man. They sent an exotic blitz to his side. Anytime an end steps to a tackle, you have to reach first, and he began to reach, and the linebacker showed up in the lane he had to cover, and he's almost recovered, So there's small things that he's going to be able to work and grow on that I was confident about. And the running back room, oh my God, there's no complaints there. Wide receivers, no drop passes. I mean, what as a fan base, what can we go away from this game that was really truly a negative? What can we say other than minor personnel pieces here and there? There was nothing negative about how we went in and handled business against Middle Tennessee State. And like I said, I told you all, everybody was believing in a shutout. There's always, when you have young players being thrown into the fire, man, there's going to be opportunities for an experienced offensive coordinator who has an experienced offensive personnel, which Middle Tennessee State, they have experience on that side of the ball. A lot of transfers came in. Even though they don't have the chemistry, they have the experience. College football. And this play that they scored on was against Earl Little. Earl Little doesn't have much game experience, you know. And Arnold, if you look at that play, they ran the little switch, you know, concept. And an experienced safety, you know, corner star, Malachi Moore, knows outside in if I'm over the slot. That's his reads. Mm-hmm. That's the first thing you look for. You over top and you outside in. Meaning you're looking for the outside receiver to release inside and possibly get, you know, you got to jump there. You got to release. And Terry Arnold played the inside release to the outside textbook perfectly. Oh my God, that was a nasty catch. Mm-hmm. But yeah, and you see Little, he made the adjustment late. He got caught in no man's land on that space where he should have closed a little faster. But it's a learning experience. And I'm glad he was able to get the experience because Texas probably saw that, and I guarantee you, T-Rob and Coach Saban are in the film session. Even though the play was made against you in this game where it really didn't matter, just know Sarkeesian is going to try to expose that. And when you get this look, we rather you gamble on cutting that play off, you know, and diving instead of sitting back in the line of early score, especially when we got a chance to take momentum. You know, those type of things are happening in the coaching staff. It's small things like that I believe are happening, and that's why these players are so bought in. And you saw it on the field. Guys flying around. Defense, Kendrick Blackshire, man, clap it up, y'all. Everybody in the chat that was, you know, that came to the post-game show, y'all saw how excited me, Sean, and Jance was. We were just, it was like one of them things where you just was like hoping we didn't have another Ben Davis situation, you know, where a kid, Ben Davis has opportunities early in the season in cupcake games where he went in and he didn't spark or nothing. He didn't show anything. Mm-hmm. And we could chalk it up to injuries and that, but Kendrick Blackshire fought through injuries this past year. I think this dude is really determined and he's taking advantage of his opportunity. And I think, I said in the chat earlier, I think even though Campbell's out, I think Kendrick Blackshire showing up and showing that he's ready to step up and be a consistent player, an asset to the team. He knows his assignments. That's good for Campbell because you don't have to rush him back. You don't have to put him in a situation where he gets on the field too early. He doesn't have to worry about that mental block of, you know, I got to get back out there. My team. No, it's covered. Next man up is like a real thing in this program right now. And I've seen it on every level. As long as, like I said, we get Dalcourt off that field and get Ferg in there, I think we see a more efficient offense, a more efficient interior run game. The perimeter run game was awesome. The interior wasn't impressive. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't impressive. You know, so I would love to see Ferg with that first group. That first group is nasty, man. That first group of O-line is nasty. And last thing, shout out to Martin E. Black. Mismatch, Mr. Mismatch. That's what we're going to have to call this, man, because I don't see a lot of DBs or linebackers being able to, contain that guy when he split out or even releasing off the line. I saw a lot of him in the H-back stance, you know, coming off and just blowing past the DB. You know, he was having a lot of DBs cover him. The safety came down and covered him on 3 of the pass patterns, and then on the touchdown pass, I think that was a corner. If I'm not mistaken, they were in like a dime look. So I want to believe that was a corner that he just kind of just took him to school. He looks like a wide receiver out there running routes, man. The deep out looks good with him. He looks fluent in that. I see he has like a good lower center of gravity coming out of his cuts, man. The way his ability to turn his hips and get out of his cuts, chop out of his cuts, man, and his power out of his break, man, is just crazy. So I'm excited to see that guy. And Danny Lewis is just strong, man. He looked like a left tackle out there blocking on the edge on those perimeter run games, you know, those zone reads and things of that nature. So I'm happy what we were able to do. We went in, we handled business, we didn't struggle. Like I said, me, Sean said it, and Jared, we all said it. You put Alabama's film up against every team in the nation that played this past Saturday, and you would say that Alabama looked the best out of every team, no matter the opponent. Because Texas struggled with Rice. Georgia was having problems with UT Martin. They had 2 3-and-outs against UT Martin in the first half. So, I would think that if we all just sat back and took a deep breath and look at the landscape of college football and where we're standing right now after the showing, no matter who the opponent was, it was how we did it. I think we're in good position. So, Roll Tide, Kyle, appreciate you for having me on, man. And as always, man, great show, bro. And then Roll Tide in the chat, everybody. Shouts out to everybody in the chat. Keep supporting, run the likes up. We got 158 in the chat. Let's get it up to 158 likes. Let's go, y'all.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you, Coach Smook. Talk to you. I'll hit you up on text, man. Coach Smook, now more like fam, coming to you from up in VA. Did a great job on the post-game show. You can catch him and Coach Sean and Coach Jarek on Monday Night Quarterback. That'll be tomorrow night, so definitely hit the notification bell. And appreciate you guys supporting Coach Smook and those guys as they contribute to the YouTube channel as guest analysis. Do such a great job here on Bama Football on YouTube. 601, and then looks like we got a plus 821. So it looks like we got someone calling from overseas. That should be fun. And let's get to 601. Let's just keep the party started. Hey, thanks for calling in. Thanks for being patient. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with and where are you calling in from?
How's it going, Kyle? This is Jay from Pensacola.
Hey, what's up, man? Appreciate you calling in, Jay from Pensacola. What's on your mind, man? Alabama's 1-0. Now it's time for the showdown.
Oh, it's time, man. I just got one thing to say, Kyle. And I remember. I don't know if you remember last year when during the press conference after we lost to Tennessee and after we lost to LSU. Nick Saban said himself, we didn't prepare great that week. I feel like no matter who we playing against, it doesn't matter. As long as we prepare and practice good that week, it's over for anybody. As long as we practice and prepare. Because the LSU game, for instance, the LSU game, two-point conversions that we didn't get, that we don't practice, that didn't make sense. But the pass is a pass. But as long as we practice and have good practice against anybody, we going all the way this year. I feel like all it takes is good preparation.
We're talking about practice. Remember when
practice, man.
We're talking about practice. Remember that goes down one of the best sound bites ever from the great.
I agree with you 100%.
It was like we're talking about practice, and then he goes out there and he drops like 50, right? But
right.
Like Iverson was different. Like he just had it. Like I get it. Everyone else needs practice. AI didn't. Same thing with Mike Gundy when he's like, I'm 40. I'm a man. Those are some good sound bites that you always remember. Yeah, I think it does come down to practice, preparation. And honestly, it even spills over into the daily things that we do because for me, honestly, like getting the video up, getting the audio right, all that stuff in a timely manner. I do it all the time. So when it comes to game day, there's no differences. It's like practice and then you translate that over into the game. I get what you're saying, Jay. What else we got, man? Why I got you on the line?
That's all I got, Kyle. That's all I got. To come and say, hey, man. I'm at home this time. So.
It's good to talk to you. And, it looks like we dropped the line one more time. Be right back in 2 seconds. Here we go. All right. I don't know. Dropping the call in line. We got a plus 812. This should plus 821 inside the call queue. This should be fun. Hey, you're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
So my name is David Bailey. I'm calling from Camp Humphrey, South Korea. I've been listening to your show. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know what the concern is with Alabama fans right now. I'm a Texas fan, diehard, been a Texas fan since I was a little kid. I follow the team religiously, pay for memberships to all the websites. I can tell you that we're in another Charlie Strong era as far as head coaching. Quinn Ewers against Rice, against that secondary, he couldn't complete a pass beyond 15 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Our offensive line was getting bullied by Rice. Bullied. These are 5 stars going against kids that are just dreaming to have an opportunity to play in a Power 5.
Mm-hmm.
We were getting owned. I'm just being honest with you, if I'm Nick Saban looking at the dynamics of that Texas squad, we don't have anyone on the defensive line that's going to go in the top 3 rounds. Maybe might get lucky with Sweat, maybe not. He's one of our defensive tackles at 6'5", 320 pounds. However, we don't have that same depth. Our linebackers, we have one linebacker just like Harold Perkins. He's supposed to be really good. They're going to move around the field. They probably didn't expose him too much. I think he can create a dynamic. Our secondary is pretty solid. I just don't think this team doesn't have the it factor. Each team has their it factor that makes them special. Quinn Ewers is not that guy. If you don't have a quarterback that distributes the ball, you're not getting it to A.D. Mitchell. You're not getting it to Xavier Worthy. You're not getting it to Whittington. You're not getting into that 5-star tight end that was playing out of his mind last year. We don't have that, and we don't have Bijan. No more Bijan. No more Roshan. None of those leaders on the team. This team is going to go into Tuscaloosa, and I'm embarrassed as a Texas fan. I honestly feel like this team's going to go in, and Nick Saban's going to do what Nick Saban has done his entire career. That's the reason why he's only lost 20 home games.
Yeah.
And the only time he's lost a game at home is against a quarterback that went out of his mind. Joe Burrow, Johnny Manziel. There's another quarterback that I'm forgetting about off the top of my head. But it seems like when a quarterback goes out of his mind, then they struggle. But Quinn Ewers is not that guy. Unless for some reason Quinn Ewers gets benched and they put in Arch Manning or Malik Murphy, which I don't think those guys are ready. I just don't see it. It's going to be right now. The point spread says 6.5. I thought it was 7, but at 6.5, I'm going to take the over, and I'm going to pick Alabama, and I'm going to say it's going to be at least 21.
On with David calling in from Camp Murphy's in South Carolina. Hey, David, are you in the United States military?
Yeah, I've been in for 18 years.
Hey, well, I just wanted to first of all say thank you. Thank you very much for your service. Freedom isn't free. We appreciate you more than you know. So thank you very much. It means a lot to us, for, everybody in the United States military. So honestly, thank you very much. Civilian salute to you. And thank you for calling in tonight regarding this Alabama versus Texas showdown. A lot of good substance here to work with regarding your viewpoint on Texas. And I think I was talking about this earlier in my show. I feel that, quarterbacks that have been able to come in here and kind of ball out, you look at the Johnny Manziel or the Joe Burrow, but it's a very difficult environment to come into Bryant-Denny Stadium and just to kind of run through Alabama. And for people to say they're going to be winning by 10 points or whatever, like that's not the case. Like this team is clearly, they're not at the point where they need to be yet. Last game was kind of a warm-up game there for Texas as well. And like you said, and like Ketch pointed out at the beginning of the show, I didn't realize that Quinn Ewers was that ineffective on the deep ball. Now that all can change because we've seen sometimes quarterbacks do crazy things against Alabama because it is the Super Bowl. Like another quarterback when you went down was Bo Nix for Auburn. That game was in Auburn, but it's like something happens in that game. It's going to be a tough environment, and Alabama's defense, they're coming with it, and they got to keep Quinn clean. That's tough to say. And Dallas Turner is going to be coming just like he was last year, and so is Q Robinson, and so is Chris Broswell, and the secondary is really good. Terran Arnold's baller, Trey Amos baller. Kool-Aid baller. So, that defense is going to come with it. And the offense, they're going to be finding themselves at some point, but it's going to be a difficult environment. I think fans understand the magnitude that they really have to come with it. And that's going to play a really big, catalyst in this game as well, is the fan experience and the fan atmosphere. The fans got to come with it because it was very difficult for Alabama to play in Austin last year. By the way, what time is it? What time is it in South Korea? What's happening on Monday?
So it's 10:30. Actually, it's 10:23 in the morning right now over here. Sunny, bright, great. We're a day ahead of you guys. So I think right now we're 14 hours ahead of you guys.
Yeah, right.
So I haven't been home. I don't know. I haven't been home in like 4 years. I'm from Texas. I haven't been back in like 4 years.
Wow.
I've gotten lucky. I got stationed out here, and I'm just living the dream. It's beautiful over here.
Yeah, I've always looked up. I've always wanted to go to South Korea. I've looked up a couple different spots that I've eventually, like to check out, love to travel. And South Korea has certainly got to be on the list. I mean, some of the beaches and some of the cities look just unbelievable, right? I mean, I'm sure, if you have some downtime, whatever, you probably checked out some of them, but I bet you it's amazing. Any other final points on this matchup, with Texas and Alabama as we turn towards week 2?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing to say, and I think that this is kind of like something that most Texas fans say, we want to be competitive. We want to compete, and hopefully, I'm wrong. Hopefully we come in and we put up a good show for the fans. But I think what's more exciting is Texas OU going to the SEC. The fan passion from the SEC is unreal, just like this show right now. You're not going to see Iowa State doing a show like this. You're not going to see Baylor. You're not going to see the other schools that, are in the Big 12 doing that. I mean, call it petty or not, I just think that, SEC football is different.
Yeah.
It is different. We got a recruiting bump just putting that logo, we're going to put that logo on our uniform, and kids don't want to go play in any other conference in the SEC. Mm-hmm. And with Texas being in the SEC, I mean, we won that big battle out of that Duncanville kid just because we're going to the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited. This is going to be great. This is going to be a litmus test. Hopefully it's not like the Arkansas game 2 years ago where Texas went in and, they got smacked. But I don't know. This is going to be a tough one. This is going to be a make or breaker for Steve Sarkeesian. If he doesn't perform this year, it's going to be really sad to see him go because he's become a fan favorite. And I know he was a fan favorite in Tuscaloosa. So we'll see what happens.
David, well, two things. Number one, thanks for the call. I appreciate you calling in from South Korea. We appreciate your service to this great country. To everybody out there, if you're watching the United States military, we really appreciate you serving this country. Freedom isn't free, and we appreciate you calling in. Thank you for your service to this great country, and Roll Tide to you. I know you're a Texas fan, but it's just something that you say over here. So we will catch up with you next time. Feel free to call in anytime, and we'll catch up to you tomorrow at some point.
All right, take care.
All right, man, take it easy. All right. That was our first call from South Korea. I think we had a call one time from New Zealand, and then we've had a couple calls from Japan. There's also a reporter that has a show from Mexico City, and he does his thing. I forget his name. I want to give him a shout out because he has his own show. It's kind of like mine, but it's like in Mexico City. I think he came out this weekend. I should have rapped with him. I should have taken him. If you come to Tuscaloosa, if you're a Texas fan, write this down. I need to tell Ketch too. You need to go to Antojitos. Okay, so Antojitos is on McFarland. It's by an African hair braiding store. It's kind of like there behind a Chevron. The food is unbelievable. Honestly, it's not like a Tex-Mex. No, like the owners are from Mexico City. So Antojitos is a spot you want to hit up. Okay, we go back to the phone lines. We got a 256. We'll take it right now. Oops. Hey, what's up? You on the line with Kyle Henderson? On the line with him. Where are you calling in from?
What's up, Cal? This is Sean.
Sean, man.
How you guys doing?
Sean calling in on the hotline, man. Sean, man, we're getting a call from South. Isn't that amazing? That we get calls from.
Yeah, that was great.
That was great. And like a lot of substance there too. And with that said, it's like, look, it's not going to be like nobody just waltzes into Bryant-Denny Stadium and, just puts it to Alabama. And look, I get it.
Exactly.
Things happen, but this defense is a lot better than people think. And even though the offense did have their showing, they haven't even found their rhythm yet.
Thing about it is I want to respond to David, and shout out to David. That was a great call.
Yeah.
You know, I really appreciate that call from him. But I would tell any fan out there, do not be fooled, our fans especially, do not be fooled by this Quinn couldn't complete a pass stuff.
Yeah,
If you know Sark and you know offense the way I do, that was strictly by design. That was strictly vanilla. You know, these guys didn't really throw anything downfield. I think he may have went downfield very, very few times when he could have. And the thing that should scare everybody, you know, as at least keep us humble, is the plays that they scored on, was several of them were behind the line of scrimmage passes. So they have some electric guys that can take that thing to the house. Don't be fooled by this Quinn Ewers, didn't do this, don't do that. That was strictly by design, guys. I saw the whole offensive game plan. A lot of rips, a lot of lizzes, a lot of motions, a lot of high lows, a lot of skinny posts. That was all by design. If you know football, you know this guy was not trying to show anything. That was strictly by design, trust me. Quinn Ewers threw for 260 yards practically without even going deep. That is some efficiency, guys. So that is a great quarterback. Don't be fooled. Don't let them lull you to sleep with that, oh, Quinn's terrible. Don't do that. Please, trust me. Don't do that. Sark knows exactly what he's trying to do. That was strictly by design. That whole script of plays he ran was not really opening the can of worms, if you know what I mean. That was very, very, very conservative on his part. And those guys, yeah, sure, they came out slow, and it looked like they were struggling. But that play calling was so vanilla. Oh my God, it was so vanilla. The one thing I do want to harp on is, though, Kelvin Banks, that wonderful freshman last year, who's a sophomore this year, that played extremely well. You know, he had his struggles. Young man is still an awesome, awesome tackle. Young man had his struggles. The interior had their struggles. But I would tell everyone, it's a huge difference, guys, a huge difference in playing at home and playing on the road in college football. I can remember some Texas fans, some bros I have out there was telling me people were in line like hours and hours and hours before the Alabama game, days before, to get tickets. So when you have that home field advantage, the adrenaline's pumping, your friends and families right there in the stands, you play better. So we need our fans to be on 10 from the opening kickoff to the last whistle. We need our fans to go home hoarse, like I said in the comments. We need our fans to provide a hostile environment, guys, like never before. Every TV station is going to be locked into this game. I think you have one of the college shows coming. I'm not sure if it's Game Day or ABC Network or wherever it is.
It's Game Day, and then also Pat McAfee's going to be here. So
okay, so you got everybody coming out. Exactly, guys. You got Kyle going to be in the house, of course. You know, so we got to, you know, the game as far as MTSU on our part was as vanilla as well. We didn't really do a lot, man. We went downfield a couple of times. What I saw from Jalen Milroe is what I've been saying all summer. The young man did miss some plays downfield when Jermaine Burton had his man beat, but guess what he came back and did? When they talked with him, he came back, hit Isaiah Bond on like a 50-yard pass. Then he hit Jermaine Burton, came back and followed up with Jermaine Burton on another 48-yard pass. So the progression is there. He understands. That's what we need to look for, guys. Sure, it's one game, but for one game, if we're going to grade him, if we're going to kick him in the back all summer, let's give him his just due for this one game. The man played about as well as you possibly could under the circumstances he was in. I was totally satisfied with what I saw. There's always room for improvement. We all know that. But for what I saw Texas, I saw Ohio State, I saw Georgia, I saw all these great teams that are ranked in the top 10, and I would take our game over any of them. Trust me. We'll be just fine. What I am concerned about real quick, I think we need to be better. We talked about this on our show, but I think we need to be better on the interior of our defensive front. The interior, to me, you know, I didn't like how we played on the interior, man. I seen guys with their hand on their hips a lot. I seen guys getting turned that I usually don't see getting turned like that. You know, I seen guys getting knocked off the ball a little bit. So I think the interior is where we need to focus on our defensive front. The secondary was aggressive. The middle linebackers were outstanding. I think the interior is where we need to really, really focus on. If I know Coach Saban and that defense, they will focus on that with these guys. Sark is going to come out. He's going to run a lot of motions. He's going to try to attack us on the perimeter. Sark is an offensive guy. All offensive guys like myself tend to overcoach. You tend to put things in. You tend to cram too much in on a real big game. He's an offensive-minded coach. Trust me. That's just by nature. It's just by nature. This guy's going to try to attack us on the perimeter. He loves to run reverse screens. He loves to zone his plays out to one side, turn around and throw the screen back to the other side.
Yes.
He loves setting up plays on motion. Everything Sark does is based off motion. So we really, really, really got to be disciplined with this offense. He runs a lot of option routes, a lot of skinny posts. He'll turn around and throw that thing deep on you, play action out of the shotgun. So it is important that our secondary train their eyes. Don't get caught up in the play action stuff. Don't get sucked up in those plays. It's extremely important for our safeties to be disciplined. Even more important for our middle linebackers to be very, very disciplined. We need our defensive front to step up and really, really, really play well. But most importantly, outside the football team, we need our crowd to come out and be a 12th man. Mm-hmm. If you are listening to this show, and you know some people that's going to that Texas game, please come out, get ready to scream your heads off, man. We need to provide a hostile environment.
Sean from Huntsville with the call. Elizabeth, thank you so much for the super chat. Keep on killing it. She's building us a studio, Sean, here in Tuscaloosa, man. So we appreciate it so much.
We do.
Honestly, we do. I mean, I do this like all myself, and I talked with Smook and Sean about this, and Jarek is like, we're trying to build this product, So, these guys are coming with it too. So I appreciate you guys more than you know, and support these guys tomorrow night on Monday Night Quarterback as we talk Alabama versus Texas. Sean, I know you've been harping on that the whole time, is the fact that these fans need to come with it, because I truly, truly feel that last year the game was much closer than anticipated. Because the atmosphere in Austin was electric. Like, those fans are hungry. They're thirsty. Mm-hmm. And that's what you need to have at Bryant-Denny State. Because if Bryant-Denny, if it's full and it's loud, that it's intimidating. Right. Honestly, like,
yes, sir.
Sometimes when it gets going, because I've felt it before, and it's an energy that you can't describe. And going to all these different SEC towns and getting to understand what college football is really about. I'm not from here. I'm from New Mexico. So I've lived here for 6 years now, and getting to experience that when Bryant-Denny heats up and those lights go, there's nothing like it. I'm telling you, they amplified the stadium experience. Now it's the fans' job to change that momentum, because they really can. Honestly, the players thrive off that, and it is intimidating. Bryant-Denny Stadium is a gigantic structure, and when you get in there and the lights are down, I mean, there's no place like it. And you're absolutely right. One thing that I did notice, Sean, too, when I was watching the Texas game earlier today, is the motions. And the motions can be dangerous for defenses, specifically if you have the athletes to do it, which Texas does. And one of the guys who does a great job at motions is Kyle Shanahan for the 49ers. And I was starting to see some of that. You fake one way and you go the other way with the football. And I saw that today from Texas when I was watching. And that's dangerous, right? Because you have the weapons. The running backs are good. The tight end is good. So Corey's saying Sark is talking right now. What's he talking on, Corey? Let me know. Send me that link. But you're right. I mean, teams that can use that motion, you're right. He's a very dynamic offensive coach. He knows what Saban is going to want to do, because Saban is the defensive guy. It's really Saban versus Sark. And so it's like Saban and Kevin Steele are in the defensive room, right? And going against Sark, who is very talented on the offense. Anything else, Sean, while we have you on the line?
Last but not least, guys, if you know anyone that has tickets, tell them do not sell them, because Alabama, when we travel, we tend to gobble up a lot of tickets, and we have more than the schools always allot us. It's always a ton of Bama fans in Mississippi State, a ton of Bama fans in Vanderbilt. We always take over those stadiums. These Texas fans will try to do this year. Trust me. Do not sell your tickets to them. I'd rather you just not go to the game rather than sell it to a Texas fan. Do not do that. We want to limit these guys. These guys cut the air conditioner off on us, wouldn't let us bring our band. Do not sell these guys your tickets. Respect the Texas. Love you guys. But we are coming to play ball, and we're going to send you home with an L. Roll Tide to everybody, Cal. We'll be tapped in tomorrow. Everybody tune in tomorrow. Check us out tomorrow. We're going to dive in really, really deep. Shout out to Coach Smook. Shout out to Jared. Shout out to my brother Kyle. Roll Tide to everybody, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Roll Tide, Sean. Appreciate you, man. All right, we got a 205 and a 706. Kyle Henderson and Bama Football on YouTube. Thank you very much, Elizabeth, once again for another 50 spot, carrying the load tonight for us. We appreciate you more than you know. Kyle Henderson, if you guys can hit the thumbs up, subscribe. We are almost to 90,000 subscribers. right here on Bama Football on YouTube, which is really amazing, being that we built this from the ground up. We'll take a 205, and we will start right now. Hey, what's going on? You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Hey, Kyle. This is Toby.
Toby, so
thanks.
Go ahead, Toby.
Roll Tide. And would you send me the picture that you made of us?
Yes, I will. So, Toby, I'll tell everyone what you're talking about. So, Toby is a longtime watcher of the YouTube channel. He is disabled. I was able to meet Toby. I ran up to him when I was going to up to the gates, and Toby and I had a really nice moment. To be honest, it was probably one of the best moments that I had on game day. Honestly, it was meeting you, and I really appreciate your support. We took a photo together. I will get you the photo. Let me get your number down real quick, and then I will send you the photo that I took with you, and I will send it to you. And we did a nice roll tide together. But yeah, I appreciate it, Toby. Thank you so much for calling in. And I will text you that picture after the show. Is that okay?
Yeah. My number is...
No, Toby, I got your number. I got your number here in the call queue. You don't have to give it to me. I got it. Okay?
Thanks, Kyle.
I will, of course, Toby. All right, thank you for the support, okay? Give me a roll tide.
Roll Tide.
Hell yeah, Toby. I appreciate it, man. Well, I will get you that photo. I promise you, okay?
All right, Kyle, thanks.
Okay, good night, Toby.
Bye.
All right, that was Toby calling in. We had a really good moment, honestly. It was cool. Yeah, I got up there, and he was able to get me down, and we took a photo together. So really special. I met so many people, throughout this journey, and yeah, that was a good moment, and I appreciate it. Yeah, so Toby, I appreciate the support. Thank you so much for calling in. We got a 706, and then we got a 214. So we'll probably stop there. So 706, let's get it going. Hey, thanks for calling in. I appreciate you calling in. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Hi, Kyle. This is Ray, and I'm from the Metro Atlanta area.
Oh, appreciate it.
And we met, and the last time that I got on your show was about 3 years ago during the SEC championship between Bama and Florida. So it's good to hear from you, brother.
Yeah, same here. I'm glad you're doing well. Everything has evolved, and we're running at full steam. So thank you for joining us tonight. What's on your mind?
Well, yes, sir. So I won't take up much of your time, though, but I saw the game, and I was very surprised. I was very impressed, even though Middle Tennessee isn't on the same caliber as Bama, but they did have a lot of returning starters. I believe they had about maybe 11 starters coming back, and I think they may have had about 5 or 6 on defense, though. So they were who we thought they were, and I was very impressed with just to preface this, my concerns going into the season was not at quarterback, because I was confident that whomever they put at quarterback, they were going to be effective. My concern on offense was whether or not the wide receivers were going to catch the ball, because I saw them during A-Day and I was nervous. Okay. I was very nervous. And then on defense, I was worried about how would the defensive line hold up. Now, I think the defensive line needs some work, but getting back to the wide receivers, though, those guys caught everything thrown to them, with the exception of Ja'Cory Brooks dropping a few balls. But Vaughn, he really showed I think we showed America that we have a deep threat, that we have legitimate deep threats between him and Burton. I was glad to see that Burton was able to step up and play to his potential. He's playing to the potential of what he was in 2021 with Georgia when he averaged over 20 yards per catch. So I think we as Bama fans were wondering, well, where was that last year? But now, so far, so good at showing up this year. And the way that Milrose, he was so poised. The way that he was just getting the ball out, he was delivering it on time. There were some issues with some blitz pickups. I think Jan Miller missed the blitz, and I think it kind of rattled Milroe a little bit. But after that, he calmed down, and I think the game really slowed down for him. I don't know if you agree with that, Kyle, but I think that the game really slowed down for him to the point to where he was able to go through his progressions like he was expected to. And I was happy with that. Now, as for the defensive line, I felt that, yeah, it was good. We only gave up 78 yards rushing, but that was that 130-yard play that really irritated me, you know,
me too.
Where when the quarterback, what was his name? Badiano. He just ran for 30 yards. And then I was starting to have flashbacks of Pete Goldie's defense at that point, you know. So I was not happy with that play right there because I think that someone just forgot to trail. And whoever was supposed to trail him on it, they just did not. I don't know. I think they might have got set on the pick or something like that, but I don't know. But I would like to add that I saw the Texas and Rice game, and then I wanted to respond to the gentleman that had called before, Sean. Yes, I do agree that Texas put out some vanilla plays, but the one thing that I noticed about Texas pass blocking, they were getting pressured up front like crazy. So I don't care how vanilla they might have looked on offense. I don't think you can game plan against someone knocking you back into the quarterback. I think no matter how vanilla your pass blocking or how vanilla that your plays are, you're still expected to block to full capacity. So if they block like that against our defense, I think that we're going to have a field day and get the pressure on Evers. There was a time where the score was like, 16-3 going into halftime?
Yeah.
And I just was not impressed with that. Now, mind you, this is the same guy that was giving us fits last year. But I just feel that the weakness from what I've seen on Texas is their offensive line. Even the broadcasters were saying that they were getting pressure, that they were getting unnecessary pressure when they shouldn't, because I guess that one guy that they had at left tackle was supposed to be like this all-star stud, though, but he was having a rough day. So that's just what I just wanted to say about that. So I just think that the keys to that. Oh, I also wanted to mention that I was very impressed with the linebackers and the corners. And I hope that we get good news on Malachi and Jalen Key. But I really was shocked at the play of Kendall Blackshire. I had no I mean, no one said anything about him during practice. I mean, during fall camp like that. And for him to come out and play like he did, I was impressed. So I just wanted to leave that there.
Hey, Ray, I appreciate the call. Thank you so much. You bring up some good points. And I like the exclamation point for me on your call is the Kendrick Blackshire. Because, you know, we were like, where is he? Where is he? And then he just rips the ball out of someone's hands. We're like, there he is. There's our guy. So good timing for him. And look, next man up. You know, with Jahad Campbell stepping out, you got to step up. And I think that was a good opportunity for him in a game like that to get some good momentum. I thought the secondary played extremely well. They're going to be tested, but Kool-Aid and Terrion should be up for the challenge along with Trey Amos. I think he was a welcome addition. And like I said, Ray, we'll keep you posted on those injuries, which we should probably get updates on. Now, that's not for sure. I mean, Coach Saban could say that they still don't know, but I would assume that they have a better idea probably, you know, today. And we'll get an update from Coach Saban tomorrow. Anything else, Ray? We've got you on the line?
No, sir. I think I took up enough time, but roll tide and keep up the good work, and then I will be following you.
All right. Thank you so much, Ray. I appreciate the support from Atlanta.
Yes, sir.
All right. We'll take our last call of the night, and we'll start right now. Hey, Liz, what's up? Thanks for calling back. We appreciate your support, the super chats. Let's end this call right. What's on your mind?
Hi, I am so sorry to call you back. I know you're trying to wrap it up. I just had a couple of quick questions for you. Well, really just one. I mean, I completely understand this is an open forum for everybody. I do wonder why, I guess this is just me. Like I said, I'm a TCU grad, so we got beaten pretty badly this weekend, so I'm not in the chat saying anything. I just wonder why do you think so many people try to troll on Alabama? There's one in your comments right now, and so I was just wondering, why do you think such like that? Like, my great-grandfather was a huge Texas donor, like oil and gas, all that. And I kind of wonder, like, why do you think people, like, try to, you know, especially, and the only reason I'm asking is that I've been called out specifically. So I'm just wondering, like, what are your thoughts on, like, is it because they're scared? Is it, like, kind of they have nothing else to do? Kind of like, what are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, we're going to ban the troll. So tell me who the troll is inside the comment box and we'll get rid of the troll. But look, it's something that you see because people, I think, are jealous of Alabama's overall success. And I think it's not only the overall success, I think they're jealous of the fact that Alabama has the greatest head football coach in college football history in Nick Saban. And no matter who you get as your coach, no matter who you get as a player, no matter what changes in college football, no matter what program you're at, you don't have Nick Saban. What Nick Saban has done in college football will never be replicated. And what he does from like a CEO level with the program is amazing. What he's doing with changing with the times in terms of like the offense and defense, name, image, and likeness, the transfer portal, he's a genius in the way that he continues to navigate that in a world that's always changing. College football doesn't have competitive balance, and he's doing a great job with that. Look at all the offensive coaches and defensive coaches that continue to rotate out, but the one thing that stays constant is Coach Saban. So I think when you do get the trolls, when you do get people inside the comment box or that want to pick out Alabama, it's because Alabama is still that standard. And when you're at Alabama and you're kind of in this space, this media space or whatever, you're going to get that because people want a little bit of taste of that and they want to poke at that. And let's face it, there's no other program. I know Georgia's on a hot little run right now, but you got to continue to sustain that success for a long period of time. The coach has done it at a very high level. He's very measured in his approach. He has that CEO mentality and people want that. They need that. And I think they troll just because, you know, they're behind a computer probably too. But long story short, I think they troll because they don't have the GOAT, Coach Saban.
Absolutely. I appreciate that. No, I wasn't calling because I was truly concerned or anything like that. I was more calling so someone else could vocalize that I'm not one to be a, what is it called? Like a keyboard warrior. That's not really my style. So I just really wanted to like call and, you know, roll tide. Like I said, I'm willing to take my L's as a TCU grad. So, you know, I'm all about roll tide, everything like that. So I appreciate you taking my call once again, and let's roll tide. And I guess we'll see who wins Saturday. Let's go, roll tide.
Roll tide to you. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. And then one more time, thank you so much for the support to the show. We really appreciate it. You really help things go around here at Bama Football on YouTube. So thank you again, Elizabeth. Really appreciate you. All right, that was Elizabeth, and we'll close the show right there. Hey, fam, I appreciate you guys more than you know. Thank you very much for joining me tonight. Hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. You can become a fan funder of this YouTube channel, $2.99 per month. Hit the join button at the bottom of any video. Works better when you're on desktop. Special thanks to our super chatters tonight. Elizabeth with a 150 spot. All over the place tonight. She got the roll tide going, and super appreciative of all of her support. We have Richard in here with the 10 spot saying thanks. We got Jarrett with the 199 spot. Elizabeth came in multiple times, the 50, another 50, and 100 spots. So we really appreciate all you guys joining us tonight on Bama Football on YouTube. My name is Kyle Henderson. At the beginning of this video, you have Geoff Ketchum, who owns Orange Bloods, does a fantastic job running his website, one of the most tenured, publishers in the network, in the industry. Really appreciate him. You can watch that at the beginning of the show. I will rerun this tomorrow. We got Coach Saban at 12 p.m., player interviews around 12:30. All the coverage right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Thank you very much for following us during week 1 of the college football season. We enter week 2, and the coverage does not stop. Monday Night Quarterback with Sean, Jarek, and Coach Smook is tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Stay locked, stay loaded. Hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. Coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama, Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube.